Great, and I'm live, and I hope the microphone works, and I know that everyone will tell me if it is or if it isn't. Hi, all of you. Over here is where the chat is, where I keep looking down there. It's me, it's Beej, it's Loading Ready Run. You like being here, and I like coming on here all the time, and God, we're going to get everything right tonight. It's just going to be a stream of nothing but good opinions about anime. Oh, a pleasure to see everybody here. This is a bonus stream on the Loading Ready Run Network. You're joining me this evening. I'm Beej to hear what I watched and how I enjoyed it. And maybe that coincides with stuff you liked, and maybe it doesn't. But what we have learned along the way is if you like a thing, it's good for you to like a thing as long as you're not hurting anybody else, or as long as it isn't contributing to like terrible behavior on your part. But, you know, it's good to like a thing, and here's a place where we get to like a thing, or maybe talk about why I didn't like a thing, and maybe that gets me a little more in touch with the kind of person I am. And you are probably very familiar by now with the kind of person I am. And hey, this person relies upon food and shelter provided by you through the term of cash, of free flowable cash and money that comes through here on Twitch. But also people watching this on YouTube, all of you watching it and watching those ads on YouTube, or participating in YouTube memberships. Those are the things that also help money come to Loading Ready Run and give me a paycheck. But also on Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. So if you're supporting us on any of those places, I'm really happy to hear it. And if you're sharing this with other people to be like, you should tune in and watch this guy that you've never met before talk to you about anime because he has similar tastes, and then they can get all mad about it. Good job. Way to treat your friends well. There's also a store. I'll just mention the store right off the bat because Earth and One's going to mention the store. So I'm going to mention the store too. After all, I'm the one who's supposed to look after all the merch. You can go to the store at store.loadingreadyrun.com, and there's all sorts of t-shirts, and there's playmats, and there's official merchandise for Road Quest, and there's Quirpline stuff, and there's I love how like you can buy t-shirts, playmats, Quirpline and Road Quest official merch, and much more. And I'm kind of like, it's such a great little note, but also it's like whoever wrote this, whichever one of the mods wrote this, was really into Quirpline, obviously. And so they made sure that got mentioned. Because there's Checkpoint mugs, the portable hole, if you want to get one of those. And there's all sorts of other stuff there too. And rather than belabor this whole thing with all the stuff that's available in the store, go to the store and check it out. We are not shipping to the UK and the EU yet. The other day, I submitted a questionnaire to a company that would lead me through the process of getting all this EU and UK tax stuff done. So it's a step. And I'm just like, I had to fill out a questionnaire. What was great about the questionnaire too is that most of the text fields were linked to other text fields. So one of the questions was, it would be like, why do you want to start paying VAT? Right? And I'm like, we used to be able to ship to the UK and the EU was my answer. And then below, there was about 5 questions below, there was another text field that said, what kind of products do you sell? And it had been filled out for me, apparently, because it said, we used to be able to ship to the UK and the EU. So I was like, yes! Quality questionnaire. Good job, guys. Great PDF. The reason I should say, I want to get to the topic of the thing. The reason why this is still a thing is because if we just ship stuff delivery duty unpaid, anybody in the UK and anybody in the EU that receives their stuff would then have to pay they'd have to pay a fee on top of the fee, essentially. And we want to do what we can to minimize that so it's not bad feels when you buy stuff from the EU and the UK. But we also know that our fulfillment center, PMC, can ship DDU. And I'm trying to not do that immediately, but I'm going to make a decision It's going to come in the next couple months, whether we're just going to give up and start shipping stuff to EDU. So I would say in the next couple months, you might see this whole thing change again, and we'll announce it and we'll let everybody know if that's happening. You're getting a little bit of insight into my brain. But I want to try to save people on whatever that extra fee might be. And if I can't, then we're going to have to go the other direction on it. And that's how it's going to have to be, right? And I think there's a lot of people in chat who'll probably be like, I don't mind paying a little extra. I'm like, I know, but living in Canada, I hate having to pay twice the shipping just to get something into Canada from the United States, our largest trading partner. I hate when that happens. It's bad feels every time. I hate when I ship something or I say, send this to me, and somebody's like, yes, I'll send this to you. And for whatever reason, whatever possessed them as a person living at home in their own house, they're just like, I did it by UPS. And I'm like, why the frig would you do that? Why would you decide to send? You have a perfectly good postal system. It's called the United States Postal Service. And they're great because they'll ship stuff to Canada, and the Border Services Agency here will just be like, yeah, we'll go through and we'll mark that. And I maybe have to pay a $5 extra fee for them to just open the box and say everything in here is in here. But when you ship with UPS to Canada, you're like, well, it's always going to be like free shipping, or it's always going to be like, it's cheap to do this, or it's always going to be like whatever, like that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, my brother in Christ, you don't understand that they tack on an extra $40 to $50 onto the cost of that $10 thing you sent me because it had to be brokered to get into the country. And they always give me the option, do you want to broker it yourself? And I'm like, how? I don't have a brokerage agent for a personal shipment. It's like, yeah, we know. We just thought we'd tease you with the option. That'll be $40 extra. So yeah, ship stuff with your country's postal service whenever you can help it. Leave the couriers for stuff that needs to get there overnight, but ship stuff with your country's postal service, because Jesus, one day USPS will maybe crawl out of the hole that everyone keeps shoving it into. Let's get on with what we're here to talk about. It's been like 9 minutes already, and you don't want to hear about that. And my apologies to everyone who's watched and been like, hey, what point at which does he actually start talking about anime? Well, that point is now. It's the 2022 winter season. That's what I just finished watching. We are using AniChart.net, which also has an appendant body, AniList.co. And if you're watching this along with me, the people in chat, our lovely mod team who do so good. They do so good. And thanks to all of our mods. They will keep you up to date. If you ask, like, where are we? What service is this? I'm looking at the, if you'll just watch this a second, because AniChart has, what do they call it again? Reactive design? Responsive design. So this is their responsive design. And when you zoom in far enough, it turns into the mobile design, which is why it looks like this. So I don't think I can get any bigger. Ah, Jesus. How do you turn that off? Oh, good. I turned on the magnifier. It was great. Can I magnify even more? Oh, I can. Okay, let's do that. That seems like fun. It's very readable then, hopefully, for anyone who's watching this on a monitor. All right. Starting with winter 2022 season. I enjoyed this season. Some good stuff overall, as far as I was concerned. We'll start with Akebi-chan no Seirafuku, or Akebi's sailor uniform, as you probably saw it localized on many services. This was wild. Okay, so it's a very gentle show. It's very slice of life. It's just nice. It's really, like, there's a lot of unanswered questions I have. For example, so Akebi here, Akebi Komichi, she lives in a rural area, and she went to a school for the first 6 years of school or whatever. She went to a school where she was the only girl in school for of her age. And then eventually her little sister, who was like 3 years below her, showed up as well. And so it's like the two of them in school, walking to school together, that kind of thing. And it was like, that's it. Your classroom, the school you go to in the classroom, there's a teacher. It's very like, if you like Nonon Biori with like the small classroom, her thing was, it was her and her sister basically for her most recent 3 years of school. And she's like, she studied hard so she could get into Robai Academy, and it's a private school, and it has a beautiful sailor uniform, and she wants to go to it because her mom went there. I have a question. Where is this academy? Not because I want to go there. It's literally, I don't know where it exists in terms of her house or in space or in Japan or anywhere. I don't have a clear picture of where this place is, because they talk a great game about how there's no kids left in the rural area. There's nowhere for them to go. If she didn't get in here, she'd have to go to junior high school. She'd have to get on the train and she'd have to ride into like the closest town. And I'm like, I don't know where she lives. That it seems to be clement weather all around. Tokyo is a place that everyone knows about and talks about as the big city, as opposed to Osaka or Kyoto or going to Hiroshima, or like, I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be on. Maybe this is non-Shikoku. I don't know. Maybe it is. And I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out where this academy exists, that it's a beautiful academy. It's very well kept. And all sorts of girls want to go here. And I'm pretty sure it's a girls only school, because I'm pretty sure this is a girls only anime. The dad shows up twice, 3 times. Sure. Doesn't really matter. This story is very odd because her mom makes her uniform for her from scratch, because her mom's a hell of a seamstress, and of course it is based on what she wore to school when she as a young girl went to Robai Academy, Robai Gakuen. And so she makes this perfect uniform. And they talk about the fabric and the sewing and the details, and it's like, rad. I like this. And again, and the animation's beautiful. There's lots of movement. There's lots of motion. Clearly, Cloverworks and assorted studios spent a lot of money and time and people on this. And she goes to school, and she gets there, and she shows up for the first class, and she realizes, like, 5 years prior, they've changed the uniform, or 10 years prior, whatever it was, they changed the uniform to a blazer style uniform and not a sailor uniform. And now she's the only one in school with a sailor uniform, and it was made from scratch. I'm like, these girls probably all bought theirs, obviously, because that tends to be the thing you does. And hers was made for her, tailored to fit her from scratch by her loving mother, who went to the thing. And I'm just like, oh God. Okay. So anyway, what does she do? Well, she gets called into the principal's office with her mom, and they apologize. They're like, we didn't know that it had changed. We were unaware that anything had changed. I'm like, I don't know how you maintain that level of blindness. You didn't see any brochures. You didn't see anything else that told you whatever. And they're like, we're really sorry. And the head teacher, the vice principal, whatever it is just like, talking to her and the mom and being like, you should have known, and you should have looked, and you should have had all the things, and whatever. And the principal's like, but I remember being principal here or a teacher here or whatever 30 odd years ago. And when I was here, whenever, it doesn't really matter. When I was here in the beautiful sailor uniforms we used to have, and I'm so nostalgic for that time. You know, I think it'll be fine, because frankly, it's still a uniform of our school, right? Like, nobody else wears this uniform. It's our school's uniform, so it's still technically a school uniform. So fine, let her be the only one in school that wears this. And I mean, I'm like, oh Christ, this is going to be bullying central. Oh no, oh my God, oh no, right? Because the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. Everyone knows that, right? That's how this works. And she also wants to wear a sailor uniform because her favorite idol, she wears one. And Akebi's been like training herself to dance, and she stretches every day, and she does all sorts of, she can do the vertical split where she's standing on one foot and holds her other leg up, like, and go right over her head. And I'm kind of like, you can do that on your own just because you've been trying to train yourself to do that. That's a hell of a thing. Like, good for you. And you can do like very ballet stuff. I'm like, I don't think she was ever in ballet. I don't remember them ever talking about her being in ballet and like all these other kind of things. But if I didn't know better, this show is Closet Yuri. If I didn't know better. And if you watch the intro, it gives you every indication that this is Closet Yuri, because all the girls are doing stuff. And it's a show that's very interested in, look at how wonderful young girls are. Try not to take that too far, but look at how wonderful it is young girls are, the energy and and they all want to do different things, and the uncertainty and the naivete and they're all ingenues, right? And it's just like, how wonderful is that? And I'm like, God, this is bordering on something that's very creepy. When they have shots in the opening sequence where we have a bunch of girls sitting on like the stage in the gym, but it's only a shot of their bare legs from the knees down, and then it pulls out to show them all sitting there and they all have bare legs from the knees down. I'm like, there's something about that just makes me like think about, like, you didn't get that for free, you had to decide. And then on top of that, there's a shot where she's trying. Oh, so in the story, she's trying to make friends with everybody, and not everybody really knows how to react to her because, again, not everybody can be friends with each other. But her thing in the intro, there's a part where she like leans towards the camera and offers her hand, and a hand reaches out from the camera in the uniform, in not the sailor uniform, but the normal uniform, grabs her hand. And they start running away. So it's like you're the one grabbing her hand, right? And then it turns to a side shot, and it's very brief because it's only about 4 or 5 seconds long. But there's a side shot where she's running, and her hand that she held out is now back just at the frame's edge of the thing, and she's holding the hand of whoever it is that's coming along for the ride, right? And all you can see is just the sleeve and the hand of the person that she's running along with, and she kind of looks back and stuff, and she's smiling and whatever else, and I'm like, you never get to see who that girl is, whose hand that she grabbed, but you're going to be introduced to a whole bunch of different girls who are probably, maybe, I don't know. Is that what they're alluding to? Because I'm like, this is middle school, so the brimmings of first love and stuff. And yet, no, this show is not Yuri at all. There's no sort of romance in this. There's no sort of anything else. It is, but I'm like, but there is definitely that felt. I was like, if I didn't know better, I would say that this would have been like based on a otome game, or like on like something like that, but it's not. It's based on a manga, as you can see, and I'm just like, I can't tell, like, who are we doing this for, and why are we doing this, and what's the because again, right, remember, everything about animation, you don't get things for free. You have to position the camera, you have to do all the effects, you have to put the characters where they need to be, and I'm like, I feel like you want us to read into this more, because it's not just, she didn't just grab someone's hand and go running off with them. Like, you decided to do that for a specific reason. Why? Is it because you don't want to allude to her getting along with anybody right off the bat because she is so very different than a lot of these girls, and that we're trying to learn who she becomes best friends with, and like that kind of thing along that, and there's tension there? And I'm like, I don't know if there is. I think it's more that this could be any one of your faves, everyone watching. She could be running with any single one of the other girls. And that's who her best friend is going to be. And I'm just like, it's just so much of this. And is it a good show? It's fun. It's really, really fun. The ending, the last episode, fun too. I really enjoyed it, despite having to hear like an 11-minute rendition of a song, or a 15-minute rendition of a song that's probably only about like 3 minutes 50. I was like, this is quite the thing you've done here, is find a way to get around having a pop song but you can stretch it out to 11 minutes or however long it was. And I was like, there's a lot going on, but it's fun, and it's fairly gentle, and it's interesting. And what's interesting is watching her from episode to episode make friends with one or maybe two girls, and kind of the relationship that she creates with them, because she's just interested in them. Because she has her things that she likes, and she's fairly upfront about it, but she also, like, she's a little embarrassed about the fact that she stands out so much because she is first year, and all, but all the other first years are there too. But also, she's not embarrassed about loving the things that she loves, and she wants to keep doing those things. And that kind of joie de vivre, because it really is so contagious that it catches on with a lot of her classmates as well, to be like, I will do the thing that I want to do. Yes. Why shouldn't I? And I like that, because it's like, in her own right, she is embodying what idols are supposed to do, which is to, spread goodwill and cheer and love and warm feelings, and inspire people to do the things that they want to do well as well. Like that kind of idea. So school idol kind of thing. It's, I think it's super interesting. Like I really liked it. And yeah, and there are some moments where they're like, okay, we need a long shot, like a long pause. Should we just throw in like a pan on a cell? It's like, hell no. Get the key art. We're going to have everything shaded beautifully. We're going to only animate her hair in this shot, or only maybe she's blinking or something in this scene or whatever, but we're going to pan up on like lots of gradient and lots of shading and highlights and we're just going to have long poses on that when you least expect it, because it's supposed to be making an impact. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you've made some good choices. I'm really happy with what Cloverworks did here. I'm like, you guys made a really good show out of, I have not read the manga, but I'm like, this really feels fun and good. And I don't know how anyone could look at this and be like, oh, I hate this, unless they're like, I hate this because it's so sexual. And I'm like, it's not, though. It's really not sexual. You can read into a lot of stuff, and there's hooks to hang your hat on, but it's not a sexual show at all. It's just, you have to. So anyway, let's move on. Arifureta Shokugyo, sorry. Arifureta Shokugyo de Sekai Saikyo, second season. I didn't watch the first one. And so I didn't watch this one. Moving on. Bakugan Evolutions. I've never played Bakugan, so I don't. Barao no Soretsu. This sounded interesting. I mean, it's based on, an early draft of Richard III. I didn't care, so I didn't watch it. Moving on. Q! Music from a video game based on an idle training mobile game. I was just like, I don't really care about that, so I didn't watch it. Precure I don't watch, so I didn't watch that. I know we're moving through these fast, right? Because, hey, I didn't watch a lot of stuff. Dolls Frontline. I didn't really care about this, so I didn't watch it. Based on a video game. Maybe that was something you played or that you like or whatever. So, but I didn't watch it. It's hard to keep my mouse in the space where it needs to be. Fantasy. I can't. Wow, I did that. Fantasy Bishoujo Juniku Oji-san to. Yeah. No. For a second, when I saw the Oji-san thing and I saw the whole isekai thing, I was like, "Oh, wait a second! Is this the one about the old man who ends up in the young girl's body? The lady, not Lady Claire. What's her name? There's a manga about that. An old man who like ends up in his daughter's video game, and he's in the girl's body, and so he's doing all of his very he's trying to get through the game so he can hopefully get out, and his daughter's trying to help go through it as well. And the mother, who was also an otaku, was also there, and they're both trying to go through it at the same time. And I was just like, yeah, this is wild. And he's all like very mid-40s salarymanning himself through the whole thing. So yeah. Anyway, moving forward. Futsal Boys. No, don't. All right, Genjitsu Shugi Yusha no Okoku Saikenki. This is part 2, second season. I'm pretty sure this is what we're getting. This was it. So it's 26 episodes of a realist hero remakes the kingdom. I can't remember what it's called again. Boy, the last 2 episodes of this, I was like, okay, well, but all the other stuff, fun show, interesting show. I mean, it is ultimately turns into a harem show, and I'm just kind of like, I don't like that. Wow, you could have, I miss me with your harem takes. Like, I'm just like, I can't deal with that. I'm subs only. Banana monkey. I'm English subs only. Watching this, I was like, interesting things. The kind of like the person who like read Machiavelli's The Prince and was like, hey, let's use that as a way of informing how I can do things. And there's some cruel stuff going on, but there's also some like the kindness, but also like the things. And it's everything you want about these kind of shows. We're going to talk about Genius Prince also in a little bit. It's like, what I love about these kind of shows is when like the world building's good, but it's even better when it's very SimCity, when it's kind of like, I'm going to go through the process of trying to help remake things. I'm going to do these things. And like, that's what I want, is I want a long running show about somebody who's an administrator, or the king. In this case, he gets made the king immediately. And we find out in the last episode why. And it's like, okay, that cleans up a lot of questions I had. Thank you. But Jesus, like, it is a weird, anyway. But yeah, it's still interesting. Like, it's still, I still really enjoyed it. If they made a part 3 of this and there was more to go on, I would definitely watch it, because I'd love to see where, like, what other things happen. But ultimately, you know, if this is all we get, this is all we get, and I'm fine about that. But yeah, Arclights, this is the episode about building sanitation systems. Like, yes. Is this is the show? It's this one, not Genius Prince, I think. This is the one that has to do with slave trading, because I was like, oh, we're gonna get slaves in here, are we? Oh, fuck. All right, well, whatever. We're gonna do slaves, and every goddamn medieval isekai always has slavery, and it's like, and how are we gonna make it gross and weird and icky and whatnot? It's like, we're just gonna talk about how slavery's always been gross and weird and icky. You know, like, so that's fine. But in this case, it was like, there was a kid who was like inherited his grandfather's slave trading business. And he seems like he's like 17 years old, and he's just like, I don't know what to do with you. So I might, I need to wind up the business. So I'm going to have to just sell you guys on to wherever. And everyone's like, oh God. And somebody speaks up, and she's like, hey, it'd be super great if you didn't just sell us to whomever. He's like, no, I'll try to find somebody. He's like, no, it's really hard, because some of these people are sisters and some of them are married to each other. You can't, like, breaking up families or breaking up people. It's really hard. And he's like, well, okay, I'll try to figure something out. And so he ends up educating his slaves, and he ends up, like, dressing them nicely and, like, basically trying to show that they're well taken care of, so that a bunch of nobles start calling, and they're like, we need your slaves because you've taught them how to read and write and do math and do all this, like, administrative work. And Kazuya, dude here, who's the king, just put a whole bunch of things in place where nobles would have to start doing a whole bunch more paperwork to take care of their domains. And so they need people who know how to do this stuff. And I'm kind of like, then wouldn't you hire people who know how to do this stuff? Is that not how this place? Wait, hang, you don't have public education. You don't have universities as a rule, do you? Oh, you don't have ways to train people. Holy shit. You have to buy slaves who are smarter than you to do. Christ. And so it ends up being that Kazuya is like, I want to get rid of slavery, but if I get rid of slavery, I'll have a revolt on my hands. So what I need to do first is implement reforms where all slaves, if you agree to put yourself to be made a slave, or you get sold as a slave or whatever, all slave traders have to be accredited within the kingdom as a slave trader, and public education is now uniform, and everyone has to be educated, including slaves. So you are responsible for training all these slaves and making sure that they're educated. That way they'll have an educated workforce. But, you know, a lot of things don't survive in darkness, and slavery is one of those things that doesn't survive in darkness if you're willing to shine light on it. And so what better light than education, right? So yeah, this is it's very it was like, this is the thing where he's like, I'm looking 10, 15 years out here. So everyone who's a slave now, tough shit. You're going to be doing this for the next 10 or 15 years. But hey, we'll get to a point where maybe I can do away with slavery, because we'll just have an educated populace and who are able to work on their own and you know, but whatever. But still, good show. I liked it. See how, if you guys liked it too, then great. Moving on. Genso Sangokushi Tengen Reishinki. I did not watch this. I wasn't really interested in it. Oh, it's based on a video game. That might have been why I might have just said no to it, but I was just not really interested in it. Distressing Spectator asks, is the dark magic stuff interesting? In the last show? No, it's you get a taste and then you get a second taste, and that's it. Magic is just not a thing we talk about in the show. It's not really important at all. So there's a bit of technology stuff, which is fun and interesting, but largely not really necessary. It's just how it is. Hakozume Koban Joshi no Gyakushu. The last time I didn't watch this, and the reason was because the last time we talked about it, I was like, man, I feel like I'm not in the mood for, you know, it's hard being a police officer. Hey, but this other person now makes me think that being a police officer is great. Let's talk about how great it is to be a police officer. And I'm just like, yeah, the advent of propaganda was one of those things where I was just like, I don't know if I'm in the mood for watching anything that that it talks about how great it is being a cop, or getting your love for being a cop back or whatever, and just kind of shows you and I was like, I'm not going to watch this. And I didn't. And I don't know if anybody else did or if they didn't. But I didn't watch it because that was my sole reason for why I would not want to watch it. And so then I didn't watch it. So which is the reason I mentioned it out loud, is because when I saw this initially, like months ago, I was like, that looks interesting. And then just the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, but maybe I'm not in the mood. It's like, there's 2 games that came out called This Is the Police and This Is the Police 2. And years ago, I was all on like, I think I want to play that because it's a very interesting idea of, do you play good or bad or a mix of the two just so you can keep your department running in town, and how do you operate all that stuff? Do you take bribes? Do you not? It tries to be very honest about, I guess, the sheer slate of things you can do in these video games. And then they dropped in price a bunch, and I kept thinking about buying them and playing them because I'm like, oh, it could be a fun simulation game and interesting to try. But as the protests, the BLM protests happened, and as all the other protests have been happening, and a lot of the stuff like shining light on the darkness of different police departments and police in general, you start to feel like, oh, I'm not that interested in playing a policeman's game. So I move on. But let's move on to this. I have odd feelings about this. We're going to talk about that. Kaijin Kaihatsubu no Kuruitsu-san, or Miss Kuroitsu of the Monster Development Department. Now, I love Astro Fighter Sunred. I love it so much. And if you've never seen it, it is a gag anime about a lazy hero and a very hardworking neighborhood world domination evil organization. And this has a lot of that. And if you love tokusatsu, if you love Super Sentai or Masked Heroes or any of that kind of stuff, right? Like if you love this stuff, this is so great. And what sucks for me is, so I downloaded the first episode to watch it. And when I did, I couldn't get past the opening sequence because it would literally crash my Plex every single time. It would crash Plex every single time. And and not because Plex was having a problem, literally something I think was wrong with the file. And so I kept trying to get past it, and I couldn't seem to get past that spot. And it just soured me on watching the show because I'm like, I want to watch this and see what it's all about, but man, I can't get that excited about it. Eventually I found a way past it and then was able to watch the show, but every episode that would come out afterwards, I would have the same problem, and I'd have to again skip and I'm like, this sucks that I'm having to do this, and it sucks. So I feel like the show sucks. The show doesn't suck. It's just the thing. It's just this thing with this file. So anyway, this is super fun. Oh God, I'm so glad I watched this. And let me tell you why, of all the other things that are in this, because, man, there are problematic shit in this, and we got to talk about that too. But the stuff that I love, local heroes. And I've watched a lot of stuff about local heroes. There's something called, something says, it ends in Cheer Fruits. I can't remember what the name of the Action Heroines Cheer Fruits, I think is what it is. It's a bunch of girls in high school who get together to make their own local hero team and productions and do local hero shows and stuff. I love Locodol, which is the show that was about local idols. And I love this because they treated local heroes and the local villainous secret organizations in their own prefectures or cities or whatever as real things that exist, and that we would get cut to them all the time. And at the end of the episode, they would show in the credits, they'd have a thing that's like, these local heroes are not made up, they are real. And they would show the real life people in the outfits doing the poses, doing the fights, everyone posing together, speaking to the audience, being like, yeah, we're this, they'd play the theme songs over top of that, or they'd have ending sequences that would have those local idols animated. They animated a lot of these. I'm like, how good must that feel if you have invested money as a local group of let's get our shopping street back together, let's get our local businesses back together, and all of a sudden an animation studio comes along and says we want to do like a short 60 seconds animation of your heroes fighting your bad guys and putting them in your area. And I'm just like, the rest of the show is not based on any of that, but all of the other things, that these little moments are just like, I love this show so much for wanting to do that. And there are other, like KyoAni used to do that with another show that they did where they would do stuff that has to do with things that are going on locally. And I loved all of those things, that every time they do like, this is a real thing and we love it. And this is our love letter. This show itself is a love letter to these people, is what this is. I'm like, yeah. So I really like this show. The last episode is a goddamn treat. So worth watching this show for that. Here come the warnings. I would like to introduce you to, this is Kuroitsu down here in the pink hair. That's her. This is Agashik. She is the one who runs Agastia. She's the lead of that. This is Absolute Zero's chief of staff, Megistus. He's so cool. And these are a whole bunch of other people who work there, like Long Range Uncle and like Cannon Thunderbird. He's a monster that Kuroitsu creates with her boss. This is I forget his name again. Doesn't really matter. That's Neo Hydra, Cannon Thunderbird. Thunderbird is, yeah, right. Those are the that I think is, one of these is Fenrir and one of them's Jaguar. There's just a whole bunch of people that are involved in this thing, and we come down because there's another girl down here in full color. She must be important. That's Wolf Bete. It's, I have no, Wolf Bete is how they spell it in English on the screen. That's a dude. And I can say that because when, in the first episode, when Kuroitsu is working on Wolf Bete, the whole idea is to have a very muscular wolf-based guy who's going to fight against Blader, who's the hero. We're going to do this. That's what it's going to be. And through cutbacks and changes and all sorts of other things, they're like, we don't have enough material to give you a really big hulking body. We don't have enough to do X with Y. We have to, like, all these changes we have to make. And so ultimately we had to put you into a girl's body. And Wolf is not happy about this. Why? Because they didn't change the switches in Wolf's brain to say, hey, by the way, your gender is female, and be like, then I am a girl, I am female, right? They didn't have time to change it. And I'm like, I'm so fucking torn on this, because on the one hand, you have the potential of underground trans icon, right? Like, that would be progressive as fuck, that you would not expect that. Thanks, Doodles. The leader said, no, Wolf has to be a girl. And so they put Wolf in a girl's body, but didn't change the thing. And yeah, thank you. Wicker points out, congrats, have all the body dysphoria that you need, because Wolf's like, I don't know how to deal with any of this stuff. Now, all sorts of people then, of course, speaking to Wolf as if Wolf is a girl, despite the fact that Wolf is a boy. To the credit of the people who know, like the people in the, because Wolf ends up being kind of an assistant within the monster development department. Everybody in the monster development department, all the other monsters refer to Wolf as Wolf-kun, and they translate that as Wolfie boy. Everybody does that. Everybody in the organization who knows, and they all know, they all call Wolf Bete Wolf-kun. And I'm like, holy shit, that's great. That's awesome. And they've told Wolf before, it's like, when we have time and when we are able to do it, we will put you back in the thing, and we will either flip the switch in your head so you think you're female, or we will give you the male body that you want. Like, it's get mentioned, but it gets mentioned like offhand. Like, it's like, we'll do this when we're ready to do this. And I'm just like, right. But in the meantime, everyone who is not aware will refer to Wolf as a girl, and then Wolf will have to correct them. And then also, we're going to kind of play that for laughs in several spots. And I'm just like, I have no idea what you're doing here. And given the history of how people have treated, I don't even want to, like, the thing is, like, you could say that I don't get to, though, right? I'm a cis white male. I don't get to decide whether Wolf qualifies as a trans icon or not. all I get to do is say here is like, I don't know how to react to any of that because I'm like, I kind of don't like it. And I see what you're doing. And I don't know if you're trying to do it on purpose to be like, oh, we'll do this because we want to kind of get that in there because we think it's important to say something about this. I don't know if you do or if you don't. This is supposed to be obviously a comedy first and foremost. But sometimes the more subversive stuff is a way to get this kind of idea in. But at the same time, you're also mining it for laughs. And I'm just like, fuck. And so I'm like, I can't think that's good. And therefore, I think it's a red flag to anybody if you have body dysphoria, or if you are trans, or if you are just uncomfortable with like that kind of treatment. It's like, this is a thing to avoid because it never really goes away. It's great that her coworkers and basically her creators are very accepting. I keep saying her, right? Because I keep seeing, right, and I keep fucking that up too because other people keep saying, but yeah, it's great that Wolf's, it's like they don't do they pronouns in this. It's either going to be he or she all the time. And I'm like, I wish they'd just throw in some they pronouns or whatever, but I was like, so yeah. So that sucked because so much about this show is really great. It's really fun and interesting and good and wild because it is very much about being like an organization that's struggling to do its best. And you're like, well, they're a black company. And you're like, I don't know, maybe they are. And then you see an actual black company. And you're like, oh, they're not a black company at all. No, they actually take things very seriously and they try to do good by their employees. But I'm like, but not in every case, it seems. So I'm just like, anyway, we will roll on. And I'm going to stop talking about that because I would like to stop talking about it. And there we are. I obviously watched this. If you have know anything about me, you know that I love Takagi-san. The Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san is this is the third season of Takagi-san, and there's hundreds of chapters written about these two. Yamashiro Soichiro. Oh yeah, we're getting a movie. Thank you, Rock Pusher. We'll talk about that in the next segment. Yamashiro Soichiro, who does this, also does a lot of other manga that I really like, which I will talk about that in the next thing as well. And I just went looking for all the stuff that they did because I'm like, I really just like this, and Takagi-san's so cute, and Nishikata is so goddamn hapless, and it's just fun to watch this because she is not shy about how she feels at all. And Nishikata is just the densest because he doesn't want to know. He doesn't really want to believe it's true or not. The thing that I find out this time is like, wait, I think this show takes place on the island of Shikoku. I'm not sure, but I think it does. They get on a ferry to go somewhere, and I didn't catch the name of the ferry or anything. Like when it went by, I was like, wait, they're getting on a ferry to go to town to watch a movie. That's not a thing you do if you live in Tokyo, right? And I'm just like, this is kind of cool. The sequel manga to this, which is Karakai Jozu no, where does it go again? Karakai Jozu no Moto Takagi-san, which is skilled teasing. How do they put it again? Skilled teaser, teasing genius, whatever you want to call it. Takagi-san, it's like, it's so fun to watch them have their things. And then the Moto Takagi-san is the two of them as, spoilers, grown up, married, have a kid. And that is super great too. I love that so much. And then all the spin-off series of like her friends and like all these other things. There's he does a manga about kids in high school who play shogi, and where the boy doesn't want to confess to the girl until he's literally said, I'm not confessing to you until I can beat you at shogi. And she's like, wait, what did you just say? And he's like, let's play some shogi. And she's like, no, wait, what did you just say? And he's like, I want to play shogi. I'm going to beat you first. And she's like, oh my God. He likes me. I don't know what to do about this. But he wants to beat me, but I'm going to beat him at every opportunity. And it's a fun series too. This is just more of the good stuff that I really like. The last episode, I think, is very well done. It's very cute. It's about White Day. And the whole season has been great. I hope they do another season. I hope they just keep doing this forever. Just do it until you've covered all the manga. Please do that. Moving on. Kenja no Deshi o Kenja no Deshi o Nanoru Kenja. I did not watch this, so I will roll on. Kimetsu no Yaiba Yukaku Hen. It's a sequel, as you saw before I put my thing over it. It is a sequel. I did not watch the original, didn't watch this. Koroshi Ai, did not watch this. Just didn't seem interested, so I didn't. Lidale no Daichi Nite. Thought about this, but didn't, and ultimately then didn't. So I didn't, and we moved on. I'll keep moving on. Ninjala, based on the video game, didn't watch it. Orient, didn't play the video game either. Orient, didn't watch this. Moving on from Orient. Princess Connect Redive Season 2, didn't watch that. Ryman's Club, I've heard people mention they were watching this. I did not. Was not interested in watching more badminton. So, Decaped says Jujutsu Kaisen is secretly a gag anime. Let's go back a bit. I missed it. Damn it. Oh, okay. Talking about something else. Okay. Or it must be way further back. Ryman's Club. Yeah, didn't want to watch more badminton. Wasn't really that interested. This doesn't seem like adults doing adult things. This seemed more about pretty boys getting together to shower, I'm assuming, to show off how hot they look like in Free or something. So it's just kind of like, that was, I don't know. I was like, I don't think that's my jam. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just not my jam. So Sabi Ito no Armor, Reime, anime adaptation of Rusted Armors. I hadn't heard about this, but I don't think I would have watched it. One of these two is Oda Nobunaga. I'm guessing it's the one without his shirt on. Fine. Moving on. Sabikui Bisco. I've heard people watch this and thought this was really good. I didn't watch it. Maybe it's good, but I did not watch it, so I cannot say anything about it. Sayuki Reload, Zeroin. Didn't watch that. Sasaki no Miyano, thought about watching this. I don't know. Ultimately, I don't know. I think maybe the boys' love aspect was just the thing that didn't resonate with me. It looks cute, but I think I was not plugged in enough to watch it, so I did not watch it. Shenmue. I would say the E, but it's Shenmue the animation, because there it is there. Shenmue. Did not watch this. I don't know if Ian did or not, but Shikakumon no Saikyo Kenja. Did not watch this. This is the one where I'm assuming this dude here was like, I'm rereading it now and I'm just like, no, I don't know. I think I tried reading a few bits of the manga of it. I think there's a manga of that light novel. It just sounds so much like so many other things, but it was like, I didn't watch it. I'm not even that familiar with what's supposed to go on in Attack on Titan. All I know is that people got super, super mad about the ending of the manga, and I was just kind of like, awesome. That's always great when that happens. Shumatsu no Harem. What do you think? I mean, I am a fan of Sin, but also wasn't really that interested. Anyway. Slow Loop. Now, I'm a fan of Sin. All right. I did watch this. This was a lot of fun. This was not what I expected. It is super gentle, slow slice of life. The reference to Slow Loop is because when you're fly fishing, because this is all about fly fishing, when you're fly fishing, you're getting the whip of your of the line correct in order to get to go a long distance. And how to do that is in the action of your wrist, the snap of your wrist, and what you're doing is you're actually, because going back and forth doesn't do anything, so you make a slow loop in the air. You're making a big slow loop in the air with the line, and then once you got a good loop going, then you flick your wrist, and then the whole thing whips out in front and goes as far as it needs to go. And this is about a girl who loses her dad, and then finds out that she's going to meet her new stepdad. as it says in the thing, she goes to the ocean to go fish because that's what she likes to do. She used to fish with her dad, and that's Hiyori. That's her right there. The brunette. The blonde one, Koharu, shows up. The one who's always super happy all the time, very Genki, and she shows up and because she's like, I've never been to the ocean before. This is amazing, and they start talking, and then Koharu catches a fish, and then Hiyori catches a fish. Koharu's amazed by this thing. Koharu's like, wow, we can eat this, and so she prepares it as like sashimi, and because Hiyori brings knives and whatnot, so she can eat it if she wants to too. But Koharu prepares it, and then eventually they both meet again because they both had to go home, and they both meet again because Hiyori's new stepdad is Koharu's dad. So their parents are marrying, and it's like Marmalade Boy. It's not like Marmalade Boy at all. Christ, could you imagine Marmalade Boy and fishing? I need something to play with my hands. I'm looking for something that's not going to. There we go. I've got a thing to play with now with my hands. So this is really cute because it's about these two girls who then move in together. Koharu. Hiyori ends up saying, you can have my dad's study. It's right next to my room. I'll be okay with this. This hasn't been terribly long since they've been, since her dad's died. I think it's been like a few years. But now that Koharu's there, Koharu's interested in this whole fishing thing that Hiyori does. Cause it's like, this is really neat that you like to do this and that, and yeah, show me more of this. And so she goes out with her and goes fishing, and then she learns how to fish, and she gets taught how to fish properly because she wants to do it properly. And then Koi, the one in the center, because her dad's a fishing fanatic, which is why he named his daughter Koi, is best friends from a long time ago with Hiyori. And so they go to the shop where Koi works, which is her dad's shop, and they're all hanging out a bit. And so then Koi starts to hang out with them a little bit more, and it's like this. But Koi doesn't fish. She doesn't like to fish, but they all do fishing, and they all go on little trips, and they all do this kind of stuff. And it's a story about how it's about how the whole family kind of comes together, like learns to be a family together. But there aren't a lot of the parents being involved in this. It is really more about these two girls learning to be sisters with each other and learning to get along and do these things. And there's not a lot of conflict between the two of them either. So it's very nice and laid back. And it's fun to learn things about fly fishing because I didn't know anything about fly fishing other than people just stand out there and do this shit all day. And I was like, it's nice to see how, well, this is what's supposed to work. And they definitely acknowledge the fact that everything's in English because this is a sport that was invented in America. And so, it was never no sort of things where it's like we call them these in Japan, and we call this, and we call that, and this is a Japanese sport. Like none of that kind of stuff came up. I've been very surprised if it did, but yeah, I mean, this could have been a sport invented in Peru for all I know. And it would have been interesting to hear about that too. But I love when it's like, oh yeah, this is an American thing. And, so anyway, it was very cute and I really enjoyed it. Speaking of cute, Sono Biscuidal wa Koi o Suru. You might have seen this as My Dress Up Darling. I like capturing Bisque doll in here because it also captures the idea of the Hina dolls that Gojo, who is our main character here. These are the two main characters that he likes to paint, that he is essentially just completely head over heels in love with. He wants to be a better painter. He wants to make them better. He's wanted to do that since he was like in elementary school, and it has driven all of his friends away because boys aren't supposed to like dolls, but he loves these dolls and he wants to work on them all the time. And so he has no friends. He doesn't talk to anybody. He just goes to high school and then he goes home and whatever. And then because Marin Kitagawa, she is the school's most popular girls they put here. I'm like, maybe that's true. I don't know. But Marin gets shoved into his desk because the girls are all horsing around. And I think she hits her head or whatever. And he's concerned about if she's okay. And they start talking just a little bit. He stumbles upon her later in one of the sewing rooms because he realizes he has to do something in the sewing room. Again, a lot of this is contrivance. It doesn't matter why, because I always forget why. But he stumbles in there and discovers that, or he's doing work in there and she comes in. I can't remember how this works out again. He finds out that she wants to cosplay because she is really into this. I'm gonna say it's a hentai game. It's an eroge. We'll call it eroge, and we'll put the slider if we want to. And she really wants to cosplay this really sexy costume from this eroge. And he is a young boy, and he's like, oh my god, what are we talking about? I have no idea. And so she puts the thing on that she wants to wear, and she shows him the picture of the girl that she's going to dress up as, and he just has like a fit. He's just like, why did you do it like this? Where's your seam allowance? Why did you sew it along here? Did you even use are you using a machine anywhere? There's no lining. Why isn't this lined? Why didn't you put proper pleats? Like, you're not doing whatever. And she just kind of like has a bit of a breakdown because she's like, I know it's not good. It's not coming out the way that I want. And he's like, oh my God, I just read the most popular girl in school, the riot act over the fact that she can't do this shit properly. And he's like, no, you'd have to do this, you'd have to do that, you have to clean up this, like, whatever. And through, again, contrivance again, she asks him, would you fix it for me? And he's like, yeah, I'll make the costume for you. And so they start hanging out. And here's the twist on this, everybody, because, you know, it says romance down there. She figures out that she likes him by the 3rd episode. And I'm like, yes. Thank Christ, because you can tell that he's definitely very attracted to her and has no idea what to do about any of it. But when she figures out that she likes him, it's so great. And as Doodle says, Marine's expressions are wonderful. Yeah, this show is so expressive. Like, again, another Cloverworks thing, right? It's like so expressive, so much animation, so much, like, the color is great on this. The amount of, this is a manga. I'm reading the manga because I was like, oh, great. You know, I like ecchi. Let's read this manga. And I'm like, this is so cute. Oh my God. And it is so cute, and it's so funny, and it makes the best balance it can between let's show you what's possible with cosplay and let's draw this outfit to be perfect on both the original character in the 2D, but also on the on Marin or whoever else is wearing a cosplay. Now, Lysander asks, they don't stretch out the will, they won't they? Oh no, they do. The manga hasn't even come around on this. What's important is that both of them realize they like each other and won't figure it out. And man, they get into a lot of situations. This is not a thing where you're like, can you show this anime to your parents? I'm like, depends on what episode. But there's a lot of situations they get in where you're like, wow, that's probably not a normal thing for high school students to be doing out of nowhere. I have to take your measurements and shit, wow, that's a thing. And then also like, well, we got to go to this photography studio to take pictures of this character, of the succubus character that I'm dressed up as. I'm like, yeah, but man, it's fun. Like it is, and it's so fun. And it is the only show of the entire season where I like the opening theme, but I would skip through it. But I never skip the ending theme. It is so good. The song is so good, and it reminded me of the singer. She reminds me of the singer who sang for Arakawa Under the Bridge. They're not the same singers, but I found that out later. Apparently, it looks like they're not the same singers. But there's just something about their voices, and I'm just like, the ending is so good, and it's so cute, and it's so nicely animated, and there is like there are people online who are like, yo, that ending sucks. Why didn't they animate it the normal way? Why didn't they do this? And I'm just kind of like, dude, you already got all the animation, all the good animation, like what you call good animation. You got all that in the episode. This is the chance to watch something fun and cute and different. Fucking fall in line, my dude. It's a banger song. It's so good. So anyway, I like this show so much, and I love how it develops, and I think you should watch it too. Now it's 10 o'clock, and I started a hair late, but we have to do commercials, so we will go through the rest of this because I don't know if there's that much more that I watched. But we'll go through the rest of this, and then we'll do our spring preview obviously after that. And of course, we're on the hook here till midnight my time, so we'll see how that works. Let's see here. Commercials over here. Yeah, stick around. More in about 3 minutes. Okay, we're back. I have, as a heads up, I have a fisherman's friend in my mouth. If that didn't get everyone's attention, then I hope that maybe talking about more stuff will. I see we've already moved on to talking past stuff that I'm talking about. Here we go. Okay, let's move on. We talked about how much I like Sono Biscuit wa Koi o Suru. Let's talk about Tensai Oji no Akaji Kokka Saisei Jutsu, or the Genius Prince's. It doesn't matter. It's Genius Prince to me is all it is. This I liked for the most part. Did it just move me to the other side? It did. Let's leave myself there. We got to remember to click in here. This is see, it's funny, right? I liked this just fine, and the story is about our guy here, Wayne, and they don't in English they don't spell his name Wein. Or rather, that's how they spell it, Wein, pronounced Wayne. You know, party on Wayne, party on Garth. It's like, I would have been real funny if you had just called him Wayne, Wayne, and I wish they had. Anyway, he has a whole plan that what he's going to do is he's going to get his kingdom out of debt, the kingdom of Natra, getting Natra out of debt just enough that he can turn around and then sell it to somebody and be like, I'm going to sell the entire kingdom and whatever else and just take off. And then I can retire rich and do whatever, which means I have to do some crazy shit. And to be fair, the beginning of this series, the first 3 or 4 episodes are full of crazy shit. And yeah, it's weird. This is not an isekai. This is all this stuff is happening to somebody who lives in this kingdom, and it's very refreshing to have that. It's like, what if you didn't have to have somebody who died and brought other world knowledge over, just somebody who's kind of like brilliant and can see stuff. There are things about this I didn't like. The admittedly, I'm trying to think of a good way to describe the sadistic nun who is apparently the head of the church that we meet halfway throughout the show. And I'm just like, could have done without that. Would have been fun. Put her maybe not in a nun's outfit or something. I don't know, but just like, yeah, whatever. Ninim here is known as a flamme. She has white hair, silver hair, and red eyes. That means that everyone's racist towards her, except for people in Natra who have been, kind of understand that, there's nothing wrong with flamme. They're people like everyone else. She's very strong. She's good with a sword. I guess the garters are great as well. God, they just put this front and center. I just realized in the art. It's about him. It's not about her. But she's great. The two of them very clearly love each other. They can never be a thing. He's even said, we should be a thing. And she's like, if you ever try to marry me, I will kill you or myself. I will do one of those two things. And he's like, oh, well, I guess that's fine. Because he's a prince and she's just kind of essentially a nobody. Anyway, there are plans upon plans upon plans. He does all sorts of crazy shit to try to think his way out of stuff. It's interesting. And I liked it. Whenever it was in my lineup, I was like, oh, they got a new one? Great. Sit down and watch that later. Happy to see it. I was always happy to see one of those. Always happy to see one of the realist hero. Takagi-san, I was happy to see that, It's like the only one I was like, that I just went bonkers over every single time was Biskdal was like the only one I was like, yes, okay, which one am I going to watch first? I'll watch some other stuff first and then I'll like save this for like whatever. And that was the one that's like, yeah. But anyway, you know what a fan of Sin I am. Anyway, this was good. And I recommend it to watch it. Watch a couple, 3 episodes, see if you're into that. Maybe that's fine for you. Maybe it's not your jam, and that's okay too. Tokyo 24-ku. I didn't watch this. Reading stuff. Don't really, actually not interested in what it's about. I'll just move on. I mean, it's Cloverworks, right? Maybe it was really good and I didn't know, but I didn't watch it, so whatever. Tribe 9, didn't watch that. Vanitas no Carte Part 2, didn't watch the first one. Skip whatever that is. Didn't watch Akachan Honbucho second season because I didn't watch the first one. Atashi Kawashiri Kodama Dayo, Dangerous Life Hacker no Tarareta Seikatsu, didn't watch that. Baby Hammy Tank. Lots of like babies doing shit. Cosmo Samurai 2, didn't watch that. Oh, part of Toonami's Total Immersion event. Don't, no. Thought this was Sailor Moon for a real brief second. Garu Gaku 2, Lucky Stars. Nope, didn't watch that. Didn't watch Irodori Midori. Yeah. I think just because a music thing, it was only tagged as music, I think is why I just didn't really be like, is there anything else to it? It's just kind of a music thing. I'm not really going to spend time checking it. Didn't really care. Anime centering on the everyday struggles of the lackeys of Shocker, the villain organization, the original Kamen Rider series. Didn't watch it because I don't really know much about Kamen Rider or the original Kamen Rider. Whatever. On Air Deki Night. Wanted to watch this. I don't think I ever saw anywhere where it was available. Maybe if I find a place where it's available, then maybe I will. It says aired on. So it like only came out on one episode, perhaps. Who knows? Moving on. Teiko Penguin. Didn't watch that. Didn't watch Yamishi by 10. Good to see that, scary stories from Japan are definitely like popular enough that they can continue this. So, Bang Dream stuff. Didn't watch that. Han no Yashahime. No. Because after the first season, I think we just kind of were like neither Heather wasn't really interested in it. I was more watching it because I was trying to understand the world of Inuyasha, because there's Inuyasha. Trying to understand a little bit better, but I mean, if you don't know some of the other characters, then you're not coming in with a knowledge of like all sorts of warm, fuzzy feelings, I guess, because you don't know who some of these people are. The three girls who are essentially brand new to the series and the things that are going on are also brand new to the series. But I was like, so I was fine to piece out of it as well. Lupin the Third, Part 6. Why is that in winter? I watched this. That was... Oh, right. Yes. Okay. Right. For some reason, I ended up with the wrong episode of something, and it was off by one or whatever, and I kept trying to figure out how to watch them, and then they fell through and they fell off of my Plex, so I don't know how I'm gonna watch the rest of this. So I'm up to like episode 16 and I haven't watched the rest of it. I'll hopefully get back to it. Moving on. Osama Rankingu. I think we already talked about in the previous roundup that this was the good stuff. And yes, it is. And finding out the culmination of what's happened, weirdly, I would have almost preferred if they'd done it as a movie, like basically the second half of this season would have been really good as we're going to sum everything up by having things happen, because what we get in this, like in this course, essentially, why didn't that come out right? This was really good. I really enjoyed this. It was different enough in enough ways that it felt like I was having a good time. There's a lot of backstory and a lot of things happen as a result, and it's gonna feel slow. The second cour feels very slow because we are gonna see so much backstory, and I'm like, that's fine, because kind of in a way, if you were Boji, who our main character here, or even Kage, you wouldn't be privy to all the stuff that went on in your parents' lives before you were born. They might not ever tell you any of that stuff. And so getting to see a whole bunch of people's stories and hearing about, who's Miranjo, for example, and what did she go through? And Mrs. Daida here, getting to hear about all the stuff that went on and because of the things that happened. And then finding out about all of these other people, like Olken is important. Olken is the person up here. And then finding out how the king of the underworld and how he relates to this whole thing. And there's so much lore in this, and I imagine the manga does an awful lot to try to lay this stuff out too. And it probably, this feels more like manga set to film than a lot of other series, which have the benefit, I guess is really just the thing of saying, the benefit of being able to go back and say, what can I change about how the story has been told in the manga to tighten some things up, to get some things out in a certain way, to maybe bring the culmination of the reveal together at certain points in the story so that it feels more satisfying. How do I structure an anime around that, in fact? Because you know, do you have a dramatic moment happen 5 minutes before the end and then you still have to get like 5 minutes out of what's happening? Or do you try to structure so it's a cliffhanger and like those kind of things? But yeah, lots of dramatic stuff happens, lots of problems within this whole family, within all the people involved in this story. And a lot of people get chances to we get a lot of chances to explore what a lot of different characters mean, their importance and stuff, which I think is quite nice. This show, I ended up really enjoying this. I'm glad they made it. And I also feel like it ended probably the only way it could have ended versus the way that it seemed like it was going to end. And for that, I'm happy. So moving on. Platinum End. I didn't watch anymore. Like, I didn't watch that because I didn't watch to begin with. We're into movies now. Bang Dream. I'm not a Bang Dream person, so I didn't watch that. I didn't watch Blue Thermal. Of course, it just came out like on March the 4th. I should really try to track down this somewhere and see if I can watch it. It appears to be not on Netflix, so it's somewhere else. Demo. I don't know anything about Demo. I know that we have played Demo a lot on Rhythm Cafe, and maybe that would be interesting. I'm not sure. I mean, it's, hey, Production IG doing stuff. Who knows? Maybe that's good. Maybe this is just the video games story summed up, right? So, Ensemble Stars Road to Show, sequel to a thing I didn't watch. Fruits Basket Prelude. I didn't watch this because I didn't know if I wanted to spend time, because it's the backstory of Toru's parents. I'm just kind of like getting to the end of Fruits Basket and watching everyone, including Toru, go through all of the pain that they went through, and the, you know, just watching their emotional bones break and then knit back together and break and knit back together over and over again. I was like, I don't know if I want to go back and watch the backstory of two people central to this whole thing, that if their lives had turned out a little bit different, this whole story would not have gone down at maybe even at all. And people would have turned out to be very different people as a result. And it's just like, I don't know if I want to watch that and feel like, oh, well, you know, it had to turn out the way that it did because it had to turn out this way for all these people. It's like, I don't want to think about things sometimes. So, though I do like the new scenes written specifically for the film by Takaya, depicting events after the television anime story, I'm like, that might be fun. Maybe it's worth looking at Prelude for that reason. Maybe what it is it's more of a, like, you know, there's a scene that's like, here we are, 30, like, Toru's 30 years old and married to Kyo, and they have kids, and there's a whole thing now, and now we meet people that know more about Toru's parents, and we're going to hear about them from the grandfather or from other people in her family or whatever, and we're going to get more story as a result. I don't know. And then we'll flash forward back to the future again. It'll be like, oh, good, you got like 3 minutes of what their life was like in the future. I'm like, I largely don't care. It is the way that it is. So, Goodbye Donglies, didn't watch. Shika no O, didn't watch that. Uchu Senkan Yamato 2020-2022-05, didn't watch that. We're into OVAs. I guess that's a Pokemon collaborative animation. Wow. Yeah, nope. Didn't see any of that. Didn't see this. This is a Kyocera sponsored thing for Sunrise. That's interesting. Didn't watch that, so wouldn't have seen that either. I don't Bang Dreams. I don't Boku no Hero. I don't that. Chikyugai Shonen Shoujo. Oh, released in Japan as a 2-part film. Huh. Still didn't watch this, so. Seems like it'd be interesting, though. I'd kind of, the idea of and I see, it's on Netflix somewhere. In an air commonplace, group of children stranded in space after a large accident occurs in space station. I'm kind of like, wow, so Infinite Revias. Remember that? Remember Infinite Revias? This is not that specifically, but also is kind of like that. But yeah, anyway, could be good. As a film, especially. Not on Netflix. AN no 831. I like the look of just this already. Maybe I will try to track this down later and watch it. I don't know. Supernatural, though. Maybe fine. Well, whatever. When did it come out? January 30th. It's probably on services somewhere. Hairpin Double. Didn't watch that. Hololive Error. Nope. Jongtama Ponghai. All right, web-only episode before the TV anime. We're going to talk about that in a second, I think. Kaiju Decode. Jesus. All right. So, a orbital space colony crash into the Earth, and in the crater, there are kaiju born by gene mutation. Also, a whole bunch of people are probably dead as a result. Anyway, moving on. Kawarumachi, Ishinomaki, featuring June. Ishinomori Manga Museum is an anime short by Taki Inaba based on Shotaro Ishinomori's semi-graphical. Oh, that could be cute. Didn't watch it yet. Maybe. We'll see. Kobayashi-san Shinome Dragon S. I should probably watch that. Why not? King of Fighters something or other. Didn't watch that. Kotaro Hitorigurashi. Didn't watch that. Mahogoko. Didn't watch that. Mushoku Tensei. Isekai. Didn't watch that. New Initial D movie. Battle Digest. Didn't watch that. Nonon Beauty Nonstop. 13th episode. I might have seen this. I don't know. I'll have to. Well, March 23rd. I did not see it. I'll have to find a copy, I'm sure, somewhere. Onmyoji Heian Monogatari 3. Hang on. Oh, right. This is not Heike Monogatari. This is Heian Monogatari. Okay, moving on. Ore Tsushima cross with Nanomaki Nezumi. Didn't watch that. Watched a lot of Ore Tsushima, though. Otome wa Boku. Didn't watch that. Pokemon. Didn't watch that. Puchi Seka. Didn't watch that. Spogomi. A coming-of-age litter-picking tale. Litter-picking has become a competitive sport of popular soccer. What? Holy shit. What is this weird-ass thing? Oh, maybe I'll look it up. I'll add that to my watching list, maybe. Oh, I can't because I'm not logged in here. Stars Collection. VTubers. No. Tales of Luminaria. Didn't watch that. Tensei Oji no Akaji Koku. Didn't watch that. Weird, though. They're chibi short dramas and Mukashi no Hanashi. Girls talk. Gucci no. Meh. Didn't watch it, though. Tensei Shitara Slime Dataken. Didn't ever watch that. Tesla Note. Mickey and Oliver's Agent Yosei Koza. Didn't know. Totsukuni no Shoujo. Didn't watch that. Uma Musume Pretty Derby. First anniversary special animation. What is going on here? Let's see. First anniversary of the game starring Kita-san Black and Sato no Diamond. Story begins at Interceremony Trace Academy in spring. Kita-san Black, unaware of her dream. I guess she wants to run. Probably wants to run fast. Sato no Diamond probably also wants to run fast. I think they all just want to run fast. Didn't watch it. Okay, cool. 10:30. So, yeah. Fairgrim asks, what is litter picking? Well, the word gomi is right in the title, so I think that is trash. It's literally about picking up trash on the ground is now a sport. Because if we want to try to keep our oceans clean, I guess it's another option. Which is funny because if picking up litter is a sport, and so people are like, if there's like stands full of people watching it, and they're going to the concessions and they're buying burgers and they're buying like drinks and stuff and hot dogs and nachos and all the things that you buy, and then you're like, and then there's like tons and tons of trash generated from those people doing, like, is it like a thing where maybe a whole bunch of people come to watch the thing, and then when they're done, they throw their shit onto the field so that people have to pick it up, and you're basically helping your, you're helping your whoever it is that you're backing, you're helping your ushi decide, get ahead of anybody else, and then at the end, she gets to step on stage and dance for everybody. Because that's a normal thing to do in a fucking hockey game. Let's go to spring. Yes! So, I like this mangaka. They do some weird shit, and I forget their name. Mito, I think, is the name of their end. But yeah, Aharen-san wa hakarenai. I am watching the hell out of this. I guess the first episode's already aired. I better make sure I can find it somewhere. Looks like services have it. All right, good. This is so hard. Aharen-san is indecipherable, is how you will say this. This is about Aharen-san, Reina. That's her there, and then there's Raido, who is a guy who sits next to her in class, and it says Aharen is not so good at gauging the distance between people. That's hard to say, like, because it's like, what that means is like physical distance. Like she is hard at standing close to a person. She'll get in way too close to a person to talk to them, or she'll like stand back too far. But even when she does, she speaks in a really soft voice and you can't hear her. And so you have to get in closer to hear what she's saying. And there's this whole thing of him having to get in close to hear her, or like what, but eventually he gets around to being able to just understand what she's saying all the time. He's able to just kind of tune her in. It's like he has an Aharen-san radio or something, and he gets to figure this stuff out. There are so many chapters of manga of this. It is gag anime central. And literally the formula is Aharen shows up at school, maybe doing something. Something is happening in the process, whatever. Raido looks at what she's doing and is like, oh, I see Aharen-san's doing an activity, right? Like she's got her chopsticks out early or something like that. And he's like, wait a second, this must mean, and you turn the page, and Raido has decided in his head that Aharen-san is going to learn to be a drummer or a competitive eater, or she's learning to catch flies with chopsticks. And then he goes on about 2 pages of he's really good at yes-anding himself, of building and building and building what this world is going to be like, where Aharen is now becoming this expert of this thing, or knows all this stuff, or manages to do X or manages to do Y. Like, he builds these worlds out of what she's capable of doing. And then we come back to them interacting, and she's just like getting something out of her lunch to eat. And he's like, oh, she's just eating lunch. And then she says something to him, and he says something to her, and they go on with their lives. And I adore it. It's so good because it is gag comedy first, and then over time we will have romance built into this. Of course, we will have all sorts of things. Like there'll be all sorts of people around them that are going to do things as well. That's why we have all these faces that I actually recognize. All these faces, I couldn't tell you their names, but I know all the faces. It's like, okay, I don't know what they're going to do. I'm so happy that this is getting an anime, because I can't wait to see how stuff gets animated. It's like anything else that I read, when it gets an anime, it's like, how are you going to treat it? I have no idea who Felix Film is. I hope they do a good job, Let's move on. I'm watching that. Awashi. I am not watching this. It is Ashito Aoe is a young aspiring soccer player from a backwater town in Japan. Okay, not a bad setting. His hopes getting into a high school with a good soccer club are dashed when he causes an incident during a critical match for his team, which results in their loss and elimination from the tournament. So he screws something up. He doesn't get to go, whatever. Aha, but clearly, because he catches the eye of someone important, probably this guy here with the V-neck, who's visiting from Tokyo, something good might happen to him. I'm going to assume this is our Ashito Aoe right here. Not that one. Probably this one. Seems to be the one most easy for me to project my psyche onto. So sure. Still, don't really care about soccer. Moving on. Birdie Wing, Golf Girl Story. Look at that midriff. Look at those thighs. Is that why you're watching the show? I have no idea. The story centers on two young women golfers named Eve and Aoi Amawashi. Eve doesn't get a last name, I'm guessing. Or maybe they're sisters. The two come from completely different backgrounds. I guess they're not. And have the completely opposite play styles. And together they will shake the world of golf. It's a Golf Girl Story. What the hell is going on here? Computer enhance. Oh, wait. Computer enhance. Oh, no. I don't know what's going on there. And now computer unenhance that too. Not gonna watch this. The thing is, here's the thing. It says sports, right? There's no ecchi tag. There's no romance tag. There's no slice of life tag. There's no anything else. This is going to be pure sports, whatever. So even though we've drawn, I'm assuming this is Eve as well. You guys, you assume that the blonde one is Eve. So do I. I'm just assuming that this is just like key art to draw in the interest. I think it's going to be a hard sports show, because there's not a lot of girls drawn in skimpy clothing, just her. And then there's the weird vampire lady in the back. I'm like, this is going to be probably just straightforward. She'll probably not even wear this that often, I have a feeling. We'll just move forward. Black Rock Shooter. Hey, look, if you liked Black Rock Shooter, well, there it is. More Black Rock Shooter, I guess. Build, Divide, Code White. Didn't watch Code Black. Not going to do that. Dance, Dance, Danseur. Dancer Noble, a ballet dancer qualified to dance the role of the prince. Second-year junior high school student Murao Junpei. I'm going to guess this guy here with the very intense eyes was fascinated by ballet as a boy, but he gave up on dancing after his father's death as he had to become a man. Men don't dance, you see. However, one day a beautiful transfer student named Godai Miyako appears before him. Miyako takes notice in Junpei's love of ballet and invites him to dance with her, along with Miyako's cousin Moriruo. Okay, actually, these two might be the cousins, because they both have black hair, maybe. I don't know. He begins his career as a full-fledged ballet dancer with the aim of becoming the world's best dancer, the Danseur Noble. Only those who have sacrificed everything are permitted to stand in the beautiful, hard, harsh world of classical ballet. What will be the fate of a total beginner like Junpei? After all, it's like second-year junior high, 15 years old. He started late, which means he'll never catch up. But what is it about his movements and his build and his beautiful face that make him qualified to be a top-level dancer? Perhaps one day he'll walk on the silver bridge. I don't give a shit about this show. Dance. Have fun. Not my thing. Moving on. Dot Alive 4. Didn't watch Dot Alive. Moving on. Daimon. I'm going to watch the hell out of this. Are you kidding me? Found Family? Father who doesn't expect to be a father? I have a feeling it's where we're going here. Nagamu Irino returns to his Kyoto home for the first time in 10 years when his own father is hospitalized. Nagamu is eager to take over Ryokusho. There we go. The family's Japanese sweet shop, but he's instead asked to be a father figure to Itsuka Yukihira, the girl everyone calls the successor. So thanks for showing up. You're going to assist this one who actually knows what she's doing. I am watching this. Encourage films. You're damn right I encourage films. I'm going to encourage the people to watch this. I don't know. Maybe it's your thing, Peak Datame. Yes, absolutely. Wicker Guide. That is so this. I'm here for this. I will watch this. Can't wait. Roll on. Duel Masters King Max. Don't even play the game. Move on. Estab Life. A stab life. Great escape. The distant future. After reaching its peak, Earth's population fell into decline. Well, I would hope so. AI was developed to help preserve the species and maintain the ecosystem, manage the ecosystem. A grand experiment in human diversity. Through genetic engineering, a diverse array of peoples, including beast folk, magical beings, and more, were created to live in a diverse city, separated into walled clusters. Each cluster developed a unique culture befitting the people who live there. Oh, it's some anime about how everybody wants segregation, I guess. Let's see here. Their lives and the system is continually maintained by the AI to ensure survival. It's weird, right? Because like I know that Zootopia exists, and I know that therefore it's like because every one of those cities, everything in Zootopia was all divided into different biomes because all of the animals have different needs for living in biomes, right? So it's like, you know, oh, anybody who needs to live in a cold biome needs to live in a cold biome, and those who need a wet one need to live in a wet one. It's like, okay, that makes all sense. So it's weird when you say, well, these are all humans, but they've been turned into other things. And yet, though, from the looks of this, it's like it goes even further because it's like you're genetically engineered into like a whole bunch of different things, and maybe that it is like you do need to have clusters in order to let people live the way they want to live. I guess. I don't know. I don't know about this. Oh, the comparison isn't Zootopia, it's Paranoia. Oh shit, Doodles. That's a hell of a thing to say to me. Okay. If I can find this, and it looks like it's on a service, I will watch an episode and see what I think. It just says action, and I'm like, I always want a little bit more. So I will watch an episode of this and see if it's going where I want to, and then maybe I'll watch another episode or two. And we'll see where it's going. But I will now not just slough this off. I will keep this in mind. Hang on. You do mean Paranoia, the RPG, and not Paranoia Agent, the Satoshi Kon anime, right? We mean the RPG, the tabletop one. Just want to be sure that we're not talking past each other here. All right, let's move on from his stab life. Great escape. Good, it is the RPG. Gaikotsu Kishi-sama Tadaima Isekai Odekakechu. It's funny. I told Heather about this one. One day a gamer played video games until he fell asleep, and when he woke up, he found himself in the game world as a skeleton, equipped with the powerful weapons and armor of his avatar, but stuck with its frightening skeletal appearance. Ark has to find a place for himself with his new fantastical land. All his hopes for a quiet life as a skeleton in big fucking weapons and armor are dashed when he crosses path with a beautiful elven warrior, setting him on a journey full of conflict and adventure. So making your main character a skeleton would remove any of the romance elements, probably. But also, I mean, we get boob armor, but also allow you to play up the comedy of it. But maybe, yeah, I don't know what to make of this. In the larger aspect, I know that when I read it out to Heather, when it was like he woke up, he found himself in the game world as a skeleton, she's like, oh yeah, because like great, he's gonna be a mob. He's gonna walk around, and he's going to be a skeleton, and he's and people are gonna attack him all the time because he's something that has to be attacked. And he ends up though in a party or something else. But no, it's like equipped with the powerful weapons and armor of his avatar. I'm kind of like, I didn't even know he was, because I looked here like, what part of him is a skeleton? Oh, that the part of him that is clearly existing inside the armor and everything else. Oh, there's a mascot character here. I didn't even see that. But I'm like, I don't see how you're a skeleton here, dude. You're in a big suit of armor. So she was like, I've lost interest because he just sounds like an OP dude who's going to do stuff but hope for his quiet life. And it's like, yeah, no, he's gonna conflict and adventure. It's like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna watch it. Not to say anybody else should not, obviously. I'm not going to watch it. Moving on, Gunjo no Fanfare. It's about it takes place at a horse racing academy that trains boys to become horse boys, jockeys. Now there will be crossover fan art Absolutely, there will be. Not looking forward to any of that myself. Especially, neither are the Yakuza, who own all the horses. But I'm sure there will be. The 3-year academy is very competitive, and those who wish to enter must not only pass an academic test, but a physical and fitness test as well. Wow, that sucks. Good luck, boys. Let me know how it all turns out. Healer Girl. The anime depicts the world of healer girls, high school girls who cure people with singing. Cure people with singing. Cure people with singing. It's a music show. I don't care. Moving on. Heroin tarumono kiraware heroin to naisho no oshigoto. Something about working somewhere. Oh yeah, okay. Hiyori left her hometown to pursue her passion. We already talked about a Hiyori that lived in a hometown somewhere that did a lot of fishing. Maybe this is the same one. She left her hometown to pursue her passion, track and field. Nope. By enrolling in Tokyo's Sakuragaoka High School. There's like so many Sakuragaoka high schools. Like, I bet you if you look that up, there's probably more Sakuragaoka high schools in all sorts of anime than there are like anywhere else. Looking for a part-time job in Tokyo, she ended up working as an apprentice manager for her classmates and Lip members, Yujiro Someya and Aizo Shibasaki. Looks like this is a male group, okay. Story revolves around the coming of age of Hiyori as she juggles school, extracurricular life, and managing, and Lip themselves as they shine on stage. I'm uninterested in this, so I am not going to watch that. Honzuki no Gekokujo. Shisho ni naru tame ni wa sudan o eranderairemasen. 3rd season. Yes, I am watching this. It is an anime adaptation of Ascendance of a Bookworm, which we all know I have watched a lot of so far. I like the manga. We've liked the anime. I think Heather still likes the anime. And yeah, this is just more of the, because we know how the last one ended, which was her discovering that the chief priest or the head priest, high priest, that's it. The high priest is like, because there's a chief priest and he's the big fat noble dude, and the high priest is the one that listens to her and has the blue hair. And so she keeps trying to make books, which is great, and he keeps trying to keep her safe, and stuff keeps happening. And so I'm super happy about this. We know that his name, what was his name again? Ferdinand? Francophone? Francium? I forget his name. We find out his name in the previous one, and it turns out he's like, they go out with the army to dispel some Turonbe, and she gets super excited because there's like all the things that they're doing, and then all this Turonbe that she could like take back to make paper out of. I can't remember. Maybe that happened. Maybe I'm just misremembering stuff. I don't care. I'm still reading the manga, and it's way ahead of this. So I'm watching the anime too. Oh yeah. Kaguya-sama wa Kokurasetai, ultra romantic. This is the 3rd season of Love and War, Diary of Love and War. Holy shit! Like, yeah, excited for this. The anime is quite far behind compared to the manga's like chapter 260, 258. It's way ahead. We have entered Endgame in the manga. And so this will take place, I think, even before the school festival. I think, not sure. Did the school festival already happen? I can't remember. Anyway, we'll find out where it takes place. But I've really liked this, and it's a really good comedy. It's really skillfully written, I think, because it treats the story with enough reverence that it's like, I know the story is important, but also, boy, are we going to spend some time on just goofy filler shit because it's just fun to write filler things in a comedy. So moving on. Kakko no Inazuke, mixed up with another family's child as a baby, high school student Umino Nagi is finally meeting his biological parents. On the day of their meeting, he happens to encounter Amano Erika. Could be any of those three girls sitting there. Which one of them is the most prestigious and wealthy of these prestigious and wealthy girls? At her request, he's half forced into pretending to be her boyfriend so she can afford marrying her fiance. However, say it with me, not only were they the babies who had been mixed up, they're also engaged to each other. The loving parents of both families officially recognize their engagement. And say it with me again, the couple begins living together. Nagi is in love with his classmate Segawa Hiro, and I almost said Segawa Sanshiro, and Erika is determined to rebel against her father. So the couple agree not to get involved with each other. The mixed up and chaotic romantic comedy starts, well, it says now, but it was actually in 19 days. So you might forget about that in 19 days. You might forget about it before the end of this show. Maybe it's good. I don't know. Don't think I'm going to go after that. I got so many things that are coming back. I'm just like, I'm going to watch all the shit that I already know I like. How about that? Kawaii dake janai, Shikimori-san. I swear I read a chapter or two of this manga, but didn't really like it. But maybe I didn't. The ultimate heartthrob girlfriend appears. Naturally unlucky high school student Izumi's girlfriend is his classmate Shikimori. She's a beautiful, smiling, kind personality and always seems happy when she's with Izumi. I don't know what makes this guy so unlucky then. Let's find out. She's a pretty, cute, and loving girlfriend, but when Izumi's in trouble, she transforms into a super cool heartthrob girlfriend. The fun lives of the cute and cool. Oh, she turns into an ikemen. Almost certainly. She becomes this like, hell yeah, look at me. I'm awesome. I'm saving my boyfriend from the danger. And I'm super cool. That could be fun. It's Doga Kobo, and we have spoken before on this show about how Doga Kobo has made some really good stuff in the more recent years. So yeah, this could be one of those like personality switch comedies where it's like you're doing the thing, like, and she's very cute and whatever, and then he's in trouble and it's like, I am awesome and hot, and look at how great I am, and she basically transforms into Haruka from Sailor Moon, or any of the other super cool girls that we love from all sorts of anime. Moving on, we'll probably end up watching that actually. Now I think about it. Kingdom 4. I haven't watched Kingdom. Koi wa Sekai Seifuku no Ato de. Such a familiar title, but I don't think I've read it. There are two sides to every coin, light versus dark, good versus evil, love versus hate, heads versus tails. Sometimes the line between the two grows thin, like, a dime is quite thin, You could make a paper coin too, and then you flip a coin made of paper and it blows away in the wind, and then you'll never know how much you flipped it. So it's no surprise that Hudo Aikawa, aka Red Gelato of the Gelato 5, great name for a Sentai group, by the way. And it's not something gur. So I'm like, yeah, Gelato 5, why not? Hero to all people. He's the red. Just may have happened to fall for the villainous and member of the shadow organization Gekko Desumi Magahara. What a great goddamn name. I've never heard it before in my life. That's so weird. But when opposites like these attract, there's more than a few obstacles to their love. What's a pair like these to do? Now, it's ecchi as well, so we'll have to tread carefully here, maybe, but we'll see. Maybe it's not as ecchi makes it out to be. It could be outfits, who knows. But reminding me a bit of that one Witches anime from a few seasons back where it becomes very obvious that after these two armies that both have witches on their side, or magic users or whatever on their side, but one side it's the girl witches and the other side is the boy witches, and then they end up at the same opera together at the neutral city that everyone is like, yes, we must have a neutral city, and so we went to the opera both there, and then we both fall in love with it, and then we'll fall in love with each other. And I never watched the rest because I'm like, I don't know anything about this, but I feel like I know how it's going to end, but I don't care to find out either. But this sounds like it might be fun. I didn't put it in my watch list because I'm just like, I don't know if I'm in on the romance thing or not. But I also am like, if I'm going to watch the other one because maybe it'll be good, I should watch this one because maybe this will be good. And people are being like, oh, it's okay. They're both dumb and have no idea how to date. That sounds fine. So yeah, why not? Lysander says, I started reading this and it's goofy cute. Doodles is like, this one looks silly. Yeah. You know what? Anyway. Yes. You want to talk about things that I am excited to watch. So if you haven't watched Komi-san, Komi-san wa Komyusho desu, second season. If you did not watch Komi-san, the best ending to a series I've seen in a long time, where she's standing holding a notebook, her notebook she always has, in front of her, in front of like the chalkboard or whatever, and they're filming her, and then somebody off camera says, "Is she gonna do it?" And it's like, just give her a second, and they're like kind of encourage her, and then she flips the thing over. It's like, "Thank you for watching," or whatever. And like, no, the other thing, and she flips it over, and it's like, and she holds up a thing. It says second season, and it's just like the whole class goes nuts and rushes in from the camera to celebrate with her. And I'm like, I'm in this class. I am one of those people. Oh my God. I was so excited that it's like, oh, you got it. I didn't know if you'd get it. Like, it's a good manga, and it's over 300 chapters, and they're not long chapters. Some of them are pretty short. Some of them are pretty long, but it's like, it's so cute in a lot of ways. And I'm just like, I'm so glad it got a second season, and what a wonderful way to tell everybody, because it's not just, Oshimai, or like, here's a little, or maybe, omake or whatever, or like, it's literally like second season, and you're just like, fuck. And I imagine they had to play that super close to the chest to be like, don't let anyone know we're going to announce it here, perhaps, but it's like, that was such good news. So you can just tell I'm elated by this, because it's such a fun show. A lot of that is on the backs of the manga and how well the people who translate or scanlate the manga, how well they've been doing. I hope that if this has already been picked up for official translation, that the people who end up doing the official translation treat it as well as this. But yeah, like, super happy to see this come back, and cannot wait to watch more of this. It was like when this was in the season that I was watching, where it was originally airing, I think this was my one where I'm like, when it would show up, I'm like, yes, I watched this one third. Yes. Okay. We watched the other ones, and we watched this one third. Okay. Kono hira mendokusai. This healer's a pain in the ass. Probably gonna be a pretty good comedy. I don't know. The story of the series follows Alvin, a knight with a saint-like patience for annoying people, and Carla, a dark elf healer with a sharp tongue and a rotten personality who always speaks without thinking first. And I feel like it's the kind of thing you get pretty tired of. But if they can play it right, then maybe it's good. Together they form a party and go on fantastical adventures. It's such a simple idea. Like, there's no great... We're not going to make a big thing about the quest that we're on or whatever. I'm like, maybe because of the slice of life aspect, it'll be light enough that that'll be fun. And perhaps the fact that, it's like this girl just gets to say whatever the hell she wants, and she's a bad personality, which is kind of fun to watch as well. If they do it very well, that will be good. But yeah, there's no romance tag. Maybe there's no room. I don't know if it's a romance or not, so we'll see. Anyway, I don't know if I'm going to watch it. Maybe I should give it the test, but I don't know if I'm going to watch it. We'll see. Right. Okay. So hang in there, everybody. Just all I ask is you hang in there. So, Kunoichi Tsubaki no Mune no Uchi. I want you to look at the tags right now. Okay? Okay. Do you see a specific lack of a certain tag? I knew that you did. Great. The story centers on the titular Tsubaki Kunoichi, the best student in her school. She lives in a village of women with the rule that they cannot have contact with men. However, she has a curiosity about men that she cannot reveal. Boy, that sounds like a setup, right? Sounds like a terrible setup. If anybody else here is reading this manga, tell me. Because you'll know, and then I know that you'll know what's going on as well. So remember you're like, well, those foreheads, right? Well, remember I was talking about Yamashiro Soichiro? This is another... The guy who does Takagi-san does this. In fact, there was a crossover chapter for fun briefly where she, our friend here, Tsubaki, she time slips, I think, into the future or something like that for a brief crossover thing, just for fun. It's not canon or anything, but in a way it kind of illustrates it's like, oh, this is all part of the same universe. Just this takes place in like the time you would have kunoichi. This is very, nobody has a cell phone in this. There aren't cars. This all takes place in a forest where the women train, the other kunoichi women train these women to be, these young girls to be kunoichi as well. And it's just, I have no idea how any of this is supposed to work. I'm surprised at the fact that all the girls have different outfits, because he really, like, I think he's the artist, he might be the author, but really works hard at giving everybody different outfits. So all the girls have different things to wear, but they all go to a school essentially to learn how to do this stuff. But it's not like a high school. It's like you sit on the ground in the dojo, you listen to whatever, that kind of thing. But by and large, this is about the, it's largely been abandoned, I think, in the more recent chapters. I think he even lampshades it. But it's, the beginning is about how Tsubaki hears about men, but that's it. It's like, don't go over there. That's where men are. Well, what are men like? Well, they're beasts. They're violent and they're scary and loud, and they'll take you away and do unspeakable things to you. With that kind of thing, that, like, that's all she and all the rest of the girls are ever told. But she's like, but I need to know what men are. Like, they sound like monsters. Like, they sound like ogres, right? Like Oni. But I need to know what they are, because it's just something weird about this. I think she manages to find like an artifact of like, that clearly did not come from her village, but she was like, there's something about this thing that, you know, makes me curious and makes me feel weird about this. But I want to know more about men, but I can't tell any of the girls, because if they know that I'm trying to spy on the men, they'll get upset. And because she's the leader of her little group of, like, it's her and her and her, the three of them are all part of a little team. They all work together, and some of the other girls are teamed up in their own teams as well. And they all hang out, but they're all part of their own little, like, teams. And they stay in they have their same room that they share and whatnot. And they all supposed to study Ninpo together, and all supposed to learn how all this stuff works. She's trying to figure out what a man is and what men are. And she knows that the women know, the teachers know, and they're not telling. And she doesn't know what to make of any of that, and she has no idea how to deal with it either. And she knows that they can't find out, because if they find out, that'll be a terrible thing. And by and large, the beginning, I'm like, well, this will be fun. It'll be cute to see this thing of, like, maybe it's a romance thing. Maybe no, we never see a man in this manga. Never, ever, ever. I don't know if they'll do something different, because we're into the hundreds of chapters on this, I think, anyway. I don't know if they'll try to do something different with an anime original ending or something else like that. This is just a slice of life ninja manga. This is just a bunch of girls who, like, 30 odd girls. You learn more of them as time goes on. They all hang out and they all do ninja shit. And like I said, there was a chapter where Tsubaki remembers, she's like, right, I was supposed to find out about men. How am I going to do that? And then it, like, blows by so fast, like the whole chapter. And then at the end of that chapter, nothing has been discovered. And we go back to the same shit. And I'm like, I think what happened is that Yamashiro-san had an idea of what to pitch the idea, and then in working with the editors, probably, or working with the author, or maybe they're the author working with the artist, working with their partner on this, that they were like, yo, what if we just didn't have any men in this? What if we just let these girls just have fun? You know, one of them likes to overeat. One of them has like a sharp tongue. They all have their own little personality quirks. What if they're all just have their own personality quirks and they all just live in the forest and do shit? And it's like, sure, why not? It's great. And that's the thing. It's like, yeah, I know they're all in, like, their thighs and what. There's going to be so many people who watch this thinking that something is coming that isn't. And I can't fucking wait. I can't wait for these people to fall apart. And when they discover that not only is this show not, like, salacious in any way, but the show has nothing to do with finding out who the men are. There's going to be fucking, people are melting down about Executioner. I can't wait to see what happens. People watching this being like, oh, how prurient. And it's like, yeah, no, it's going to be great. I love it when my shit that I love makes people angry. Yeah, Lysander, I hope this does well too. It's another Cloverworks one. They've been putting out great stuff. I imagine this is going to be great too. They were probably like, did they have Takagi-san? I don't know if they did. If they didn't, they were probably like, we got to pick up a Soichiro thing, and they didn't pick up the what's it called again? Tokage no Kaiju, which would have been cute too, but there's not enough episodes of that out yet. And Tokage no Kaiju is about it's about a little creature that gets hatched. It's basically like it's like a lizard person, but she thinks she's a kaiju, and then she's going to grow up and be a kaiju, and she gets kind of adopted into this family. This older sister and this younger sister adopt her into the house, and they're like, yeah, we're going to look after you. Then she's like, no, I'm a kaiju. I have to get out there and do stuff and be scary and be one. But she's basically like, she's like 6 years old or like 8 years old. Like she's like that kind of she's like a kid. She can't do anything on her own. She can't find food on her own. She can't do any of this other stuff. And she's just kind of sad. And it's like, oh, why can't I need to do things? And they're like, no, come home with us. You know, we'll look after you. And it's so cute. And I'm like, surely somebody will pick that up someday, maybe for Kur at least. I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Kyokai Senki Part 2. I didn't watch the first Kyokai Senki, so I'm not watching this one. We'll move on. But hey, exciting for those who like that. We'll get to Executioner in a minute. It's happening this season. Love All Play. Badminton. Based on a novel. Interesting. Ryo Mizushima enrolls in junior high and joins the badminton club with great vigor. Although the club didn't have a proper coach, Mizushima improved his skills with his own physical strength. By the time he participated in the professional tournament, afterwards he's approached by the Yokohama Minato High School's badminton coach, Ebihara. Indecisive and timid, Mizushima hesitates to attend such a prestigious school. However, with his elder sister Rika giving him a strong push, he decides to go to Yokohama Minato. This is more like a synopsis. Anyway, he has a great coach, idiosyncratic teammates. He's going to get some experience, and then he's going to win the Inter High. I'm not going to watch it. There you go. It might be your thing. New Love Live, Nichikasaki Gakuen School Idol Do Kokai 2. Sequel to that. You a Love Liver? There's your stuff. There's my stuff. Machikata Mazaku, Nichome. Second season of The Devil Girl Next Door. We knew we were getting this. We didn't know when. But oh my God, it's back. And I am so excited. So I don't know. It'll be a hard push to see what happens. I mean, Komi-san, I'm still more excited for this, but this is still really great too. So Maho Shoujo, right? This is about, Shamiko, the Shadow Mistress Shadow Mistress Yuko, doesn't want to be a demon anymore. The manga gets really. There is so much lore in the manga, and it's a yonkoma, and it's lore so much stories to tell. And you can tell from if you watch the anime, even there's stuff that we haven't discovered yet, but there's so much lore. And I don't want to read the whole thing because she gets into an allegiance with Momo, who's from the Light Clan. They're trying to figure out where this other magical girl's gone missing. There's other magical girls we've met, like Mikan and everything. I think Mikan show up. And then, of course, what about her father? So anyway, Heather loved this, was all on board with it. And I was like, I want to let you know right now that this is Yuri. And she's like, is it? And it's like, yeah. She's like, I don't... Like, it's not like that. It was not like the fact that it was Yuri bothered her, but it was the fact that people are going to be a certain way about it because it's Yuri. And I'm going to see like all sorts of people being that certain way about it that I don't want to see. I just want to watch my magical girl show and just enjoy my magical girl show without all these overtones or undertones or subtext or all these other things that people are going to try and turn into something that it isn't. And that was the interesting thing to me because I'm like, you make a good point. This has the whiff of Yuri about it, and it is considered to be a Yuri show. In the manga, nothing has come together to culminate any of that, because it is also like, it's a yonkoma, it's a, largely a gag manga, even though it's telling a great, like an actual story. And it does make me think that it's like, for all the girls love posturing and stuff that goes on in it, there could be a pivot near the end where that's not going to be a thing. But I think that's not the case. I think that we're only going to see the culmination of a girl-girl relationship in this at the end, ultimately. Like, really, when the thing is wrapping up is when we're going to see like that really come to fruition. That's how I feel about it, but it also might not happen. I don't know, because I'm reading the manga. I'm not translating the manga, so I'm not reading ahead. But I do love the show, and I am loving that we get more of this. I look forward to watching more, and I'll probably see if Heather wants to watch more. Be like, why not just watch more? They're not going out on dates and doing whatever. I mean, and if you're like, no, they keep hinting at too much, it's too queer baity or whatever the problems might arise from that. It's like there could be that too, right? That could also be could be all sorts of reasons to get upset with anime, and we reserve our right to be able to get upset with the things that we don't like, and sometimes with the stuff that we like. Maji Record, Maho Shoujo Madoka Magica Gaiden final season. Oh, that's a fucking lie. I bet they're going to keep making Madoka Magica stuff forever. So, yeah. But I'm not watching it, so I'm just going to roll on. Mahotsukai Reimeki. Sequel to Zero Kara Hajimeru Maho no Sho. Given a different name, even though. It must be like spin-off style, perhaps? I don't know. I can't remember. Who am I? What am I? Seville is a student at a magic academy who has no memories of anything from before he joined the school. Not understanding why he's there, the time he spends at the academy feels hollow and empty. And since he doesn't know how to work hard, that sounds like me, his grades are always the lowest in his year. Doesn't sound like me. And then one day, the school headmaster Albus orders Seville to participate in a dangerous special training. Quote, I want you to spread the use of magic in an area where they hold witch hunts. It has only been a few years since the war between the church and the witches came to an end. The world has not yet fully accepted witches and their magic. This is the dawn of the age of the witch. This is the story of how a young man, a boy who is no one special, and his companions who will hold wounds in their hearts set out and end up fighting themselves. I don't know, Gundam for magic? I don't know. I also am not that interested. Especially it says it's a sequel, but if it's like following a character that nobody knows or doesn't know who they are or whatever, I guess maybe I guess it'll be what it is. Wicker also got to the point before I got the chance to say it's based on my Harry Potter fanfic. Like, I don't think it's my thing. And I didn't watch Zero Kara, so I'm not gonna watch this either. Motto majime ni fumajime. Majime ni fumajime. What an interesting thing to put. Kaiketsu Zorori, third season. Didn't watch the other two. Moving on. Otomege. Whoa. Interesting way to start. Otomege Sekai. So, Otome Game World. Wa mob ni kibishi sekai desu. Kibishi sekai desu. Light novel. Oh, yeah. Leon, a former Japanese worker, was reincarnated in an Otome Game World. It's like, let's keep going. And despaired at how it was a world where females hold dominance over males. Heather and I talked about this, and she was just like, I don't want to watch a thing where all the women are assholes. I'm like, good point. There's mechs in this? What the fuck? I didn't even see these things. Why? Is this like Escaflowne? What are we doing here? Anyway, it was as if men were just livestock that served as stepping stones for females in this world. What the fuck is with that, huh? That's weird. The only exceptions were the game's romantic targets, a group of handsome men led by the Crown Prince. In these bizarre circumstances, Leon held one weapon, his knowledge from the previous world where his brazen sister had forced him to complete this game. Leon, who really just wants to live as a shut-in in the countryside, uses that knowledge. So he played an Otome game. He was forced to play an Otome game by his sister, where he had to romance a bunch of men. And now he's going to just lead a revolt against the women and handsome men. I won't. I can't. And you can't make me. And yeah, this is not like Escaflowne. But moving on. I see. Yes. Lysander asks, why with all the evil matriarchy stories lately? Well, you see, some people have gotten a little too uppity. Half the planet, I guess. What the fuck? Rike ga koe ni ochita no shome shitemata. R equals 1 minus sine theta. Heart. You know what? I'm going to give you a bonus for the fact that your sequel names are now just turning into functions. 1 minus sine theta. Sine theta 0 or 1. Because if it's 1 minus 1, then it's r equals 0. And if it's 1 minus 0, then it's just 1. Which doesn't make it a sequel. It just means it's the same thing. But yeah. Wait, hang on. R equals 1 minus sine theta hato. It says down there. Okay. Yeah, we're just giving a radius of something. It's not a full function, but it's like sine theta is it's like if you look at like sine x, or there's like a way to look at it that describes it's like, oh, it's like this equals this. I can't remember how the hell that works out. It doesn't matter. Let's just move on because I'm not watching that. And I've done already too much math to care about that fucking show. Let's move on. RPG Fudo-san. Another Dogo Kobo. The story begins 15 years after the Demon King was defeated and the world has become peaceful. Kotane, who graduated from school and became a magician, inquired the kingdom affiliated RPG real estate. I'm trying so hard. Inquired the kingdom affiliated RPG real estate in order to find a new home. In reality, RPG real estate was Kotane's place of employment, and together with Fa, a demi-human, the priest Ufuria, and the soldier Rakira, they help support the searches of new homes for the customers with various circumstances. Oh, this is way different than what I thought it was. I saw this. I thought isekai in a game. It's not. It's a house hunting anime. Comedy, fantasy, slice of life. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm going to add this to my thing. We'll see how this goes. Nukozuke. Shachiku-san wa yojo yure ni iyasaretai. A little ghost girl. I'm watching this, by the way. It looks cute. If I can find it, I'll watch it. A little ghost girl gets worried when Ms. Fushihara, a corporate slave, is working till midnight. That sucks. And tries to make her go home. I'm working till midnight. What the fuck am I talking about? While saying, leave now, the ghost girl helps and brings her refreshments, healing Miss Fushihara's heart with her preciousness. Be healed by the heartwarming daily life of the cute little ghost and the corporate slave, Miss Fushihara. Yeah. I'm down. I'm into this. Why not? Yeah. It looks cute. I think that's going to be our ghost girl right there. Probably even have names. Shadowverse Flame, this Yu-Gi-Oh looking motherfucker. Actually, that's like 70s Yu-Gi-Oh. This is more like Simon from Gurren Lagann. Shadowverse Flame features a new protagonist, Light Tenryu. His name is Light. Even, okay. And its story is set in Shadowvar College, a facility that trains professional players of the Shadowverse game. This is based on a game. Hey, we're done! Nice! Not watching that. No Zex for you. Xena needs Zex. Shijo Saikyo no Daima o Murabito A ni Tensei Suru. Something about the big demon king? Oh, this. Those are sure some outfits. Light novel, eh? As the most powerful entity of all time, the demon lord Varvatos. It's a very, it's a good name for a kid. Boy or girl. Whatever. Thinks life is a big fat snore when he takes matters into his own hands and decides to reincarnate. I'll come back. He calibrates his magical strength to be perfectly average, but there was no way he could have predicted that everyone in the modern world would be weak as hell, which means he's totally overpowered once again. Reborn under the name Ard. He has ladies fawning over him. Great. The royal family begging him to become the next king. Awesome. And an ex-minion insisted on killing him. Please do. But Art has a one-track mind and he won't stop at anything to achieve his ultimate goal. Who knows what that is? Hey, remember that part where it says big fat snore? Gotcha. Moving on. Shin Ikito. No, okay, again. If you like a thing. I'm being needlessly shitty. I shouldn't be needlessly shitty. That's not nice. Shin Ikitosen. Remember Ikitosen? There was Western Wolves that came out, I think, later. And then now there is this. So more fighting with clothes getting torn. There you go. Shoke Shoujo no Virgin Road. Or Executioner and Her Way of Life. Let's talk about Executioner. I think I almost read this and then didn't. It's a light novel. Maybe there was a manga for it. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else I almost read and then did not. When interdimensional travelers from an otherworldly land known as Japan appear, they often bring death and destruction. It's up to executioners, capital E, like Menno, to track and exterminate the lost ones. These are the people that came over before they wreak havoc. We can't send them home, so you just got to kill them. When Menno encounters a beguiling, I can't believe I said beguiling lost one named Akari, it's bloody business as usual until Menno discovers Akari can cheat death, that is, even though Menno has a job to do and she's committed to her executioner's mission, come hell or high water, provided her newly stirring feelings don't get in the way. You want to talk about Closet Yuri? This might be blatant Yuri. Now, if you've not watched this yet, of course, first episode is out. And boy, are there some mad people. Because they've done the thing that I kind of always wished that a friend of mine told me this years ago. A friend of James, a different James, you don't know this James, told me years ago, he's like, wouldn't it be great to have a show where you meet the main character and he's like awesome and everyone likes him and all that kind of stuff. And it's like maybe it's a fighting anime or maybe it's something else or whatever. And but 10 minutes into the show, you just kill that character and he doesn't come back. And then the show just goes on with something else. And at long last, that's what we have, because this show starts with the main character guy coming. This is from what I've gleaned. I haven't watched this yet. Your male hero protagonist, right? He comes over from whatever and he's got power and all these things and he's going to do stuff. And apparently he's a little upset that people aren't treating him better because, of course, in this world, people don't like isekai travelers, right? But, you get very used to an idea on coming from the otherworldly land known as Japan with all their manga and anime. And yeah, he gets fucking iced in the first 10 minutes. And man, the wailing and gnashing of teeth of, I can't believe they would make this show with this awesome dude and then they just kill him, and then it turns out the show's actually about the girl who kills everybody. What the fuck? I don't want to watch a show like that. Also, there's like this other girl and now they're like going around together, and I don't want to watch a show about girls doing stuff. What the fuck? This awesome guy. I want to watch a show about this awesome guy. I'm like, you have 30 fucking shows about an awesome guy. Go watch that and stop talking about this. And that's why I hope that anything that I watch makes people that mad, because I'm like, good. I hope to pull all the things that you love away from you if you're that kind of a shitty person that you can't readjust your expectations. You can't be like, is this still a good show? Am I still enjoying this? Be like, I don't like how this is going. And you'd be like, oh, that's fine. Walk away. That's all you got to do. Go online and complain about it? Why? What does it matter? It's television. It's just entertainment. Sometimes these things don't matter. Now, do I want to watch this? I don't know if I do. For the sake of giving it a whole bunch of views, I'd be kind of like, sure, I'd love to do that. Just be like, oh, this got really, really popular. It's the #1 show this season. I would love for something like that to happen. Just to really piss off those kind of people, right? But I don't know if it's really my jam. The watch the trailer. The trailer is interesting because, of course, it's not just straight up killing. You get to see why Akari and how Akari can cheat death, which is interesting in itself. But then also there's a lot of traveling they're doing. Like they get on a train and the train seems magical in its own way too. And I'm like, seems kind of interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. I was like, I don't think I am gonna watch it. I will probably not end up watching it. but I'm not down on it. And maybe I'll watch an episode or two just to see what happens, right? Like, who knows? Maybe just to have some fun, I'll just turn on something I don't normally watch and watch it, right? Who knows? Anyway, roll on, roll on. Yes. I hope they do a good job of this. And it's Cloverworks and Wit Studio both getting the thing here. What good key art. Oh my god. Oh, I just noticed the reflections in the key art. Oh my god. Oh yes. So let's talk about Spy Family. Everyone has a part of themselves they cannot show to anyone else. At a time when all nations of the world were involved in a fierce war of information happening behind closed doors, Ostania, which East, and Westalis, West, have been in a state of Cold War against one another for decades. The Westalis Intelligence Services Eastern Focus Division, or WISE, WS East WISE, sends their most talented spy, Twilight, that's Twilight, on a top secret mission to investigate the movements of Donovan Desmond, the chairman of Ostania's National Unity Party, who is threatening peace efforts between the two nations. This mission is known as Operation Strix. Now, I know, hey, Beej, you are totally breaking your own thing about you won't watch shit if there's a whole bunch of like capital nouns in it. I'm like, you're right. Strap in. It consists of putting together a family in 1 week in order to infiltrate social gatherings organized by the elite school that Desmond's son attends. This is a stupid fucking idea. It's a great plot. Twilight takes on the identity of psychiatrist Lloyd Forger. The translators were like, we can call him Lloyd Folger. That's a real name. Folger. Lloyd Folger. Lloyd. That's a real fucking name that a person can have in a Western nation. You would see that. And then somewhere in the manga, when we see Twilight's dossier on Lloyd, his name in English is spelled Lloyd Forger. And they're like, oh, we have to change it. And then the Shueisha app, because this is in the official Shueisha app, you can read this. I think it's paywalled past certain points though, so you might not be able to catch up unless you're willing to pay for it, but whatever. The Shueisha app is like, yeah, official translation of their names. They're the Forger family. His name is Lloyd. And I'm like, fuck. All right, fine. Well, that's what it's going to be, Lloyd Forger. And starts looking for family members. But Anya, the daughter he adopts, turns out to have the ability to read people's mind, while his wife, Yor, not Yoru or anything else, Yor, is an assassin. You thought you was bad in Marmalade Boy. We have Yor now. With it being each of their own interest to keep these facts hidden, they start living together while concealing their true identities from one another. World peace is now in the hands of this brand new family as they embark on on an adventure full of surprises. This is so funny. This show is this manga is so funny and so well written. And I don't care how they pace it. The first couple episodes are going to be an absolute riot. I just know it. Now let's talk about that. It's coming out in 5 days. Let's talk about what's going on here. So Twilight gets his assignment. He becomes Lloyd Forger. And he has to find a family. And so he's like, the easiest thing to do is just to adopt a daughter and it'll be fine. I'll just do that. I'll just adopt a daughter. And he goes to an orphanage trying to find somebody to adopt. Anya is at this orphanage. And meanwhile, she's talking about how her problem is that she hasn't been able to be adopted because being a little kid, like she's like 6 years old or whatever she is, being a little kid for the first 5 years of her life, she's trying to, like, she has kind of shown that she can read people's minds just accidentally. Because when you can do that as a kid and you don't know that that's a thing, you would just kind of do that and it freaks people the fuck out. And so they bring her back to the orphanage. She's never really had any luck then with foster families. And so she realizes, she's like, I can't tell anybody that I know anything about what they do. She's a big fan of, what's it called? Sergeant Bond. It's like an army fighting secret agent. It's complicated. She's a big fan of that. And it's a TV show. And so when Lloyd walks in with a fake identity, wanting to adopt somebody, she sees this and is like, a real life spy. Bond man, that's it. She loves Bond man. She loves the sergeant, whatever. So Bond man is the thing. Thank you, Jake. And so she's like she does whatever she has to do to make Lloyd believe that she would be the perfect daughter for whatever it is he's got cooking, because she can read his mind. And so she can't tell anybody that, though, obviously, too, right? So Yor comes into play because of stuff that happens, and she's not only an assassin, she's a really good assassin. She's like the best. And also, though, like she's, you know, in her mid-20s, she's kind of aging out of like, she works as a, I don't know, was it a secretary or something? She works as an OL, essentially. And they're like, you have to get married soon or whatever. And through machinations, the two of them decide that maybe they should get married on paper, because that would be more comforting for all that. And she's like, this would also probably be a really good cover for the assassin work, because I don't want my brother to find out that I'm an assassin. So yeah, I think maybe this will be a really good way, and it'll make him feel better about things if I've got a family going on, and here's a guy and a girl, and he's attractive and he seems to like me, okay, and this will be fine and we'll form a family. And Anya's like, oh my God, she kills people for a living. Like, that's what she does. Holy shit. I can't tell Mama what Papa does. I can't tell Papa what Mama does. Who am I supposed to tell any of this to? What kind of family am I in? Also, I'm supposed to go to school and like become friends with this guy's kid. This guy's kid is an asshole. They're the same age though, so it's great. I have not read a chapter where I haven't just enjoyed myself thoroughly. I highly recommend this, and I hope they do a good job of adapting it, and I hope they find a way to like make it feel good and fun. And also Anya being able to read not only just, of course, her parents' minds, but everybody's minds, means that she'll learn things about people who have their own secrets, who she comes to the house or like whatever. She can do great on exams because she can read other people's minds. She doesn't need to know whose mind to read, like all this kind of stuff. Like it's so good. Watch it, and if you can, get the Shueisha app and read it, because man, is it fun. Moving on. Summertime Render. I looked at this and was like, wow, this is so like rich. Like this is very saturated, very like strong coloring, and like a bunch of things going on. There's somebody with a nail gun. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's like, and it's like, but then there's a girl in a bathing suit, but then there's like, that's a gun. That's a knife. What is going on? A tragic incident calls a young man named Shinpei back to his hometown. Gonna assume this dude, on the remote island of Hikotoshima, Japan. But something sinister awaits upon his return, and a chilling sequence of events unfolds that will have dire consequences for Shinpei, for Japan, and for the entire world. And actually, this was the point where I noped out, because I was like, I don't know if we're already an episode in of 25, based on a manga, which means that OLM is betting on this to do very well, and that there's enough story that needs to be told that like we need to give this 25. Rare, of course, to see these days, right? Where like a manga might only get a cour to tell its story, and then maybe it gets its second season, right? It gets another cour after this. This is getting 25 right off the top. That means somebody really believes in this, or that they want this to be the next something or other. But when I saw "And for the Entire World," I was like, I don't know if I want my stakes to be that high. Like, especially action drama. Okay, mystery, supernatural. I don't know if I want to feel that kind of tension. Erased was really good. I didn't know what Erased was going to be, but it was fantastic. Now, if this is as compelling and interesting a story as Erased, then I'd be there. And maybe it's supposed to be. I just don't know if I have the spoons to want to process it. So please enjoy it. It's based on a manga. Please enjoy it if you're watching it. If it ends up being good, we're going to probably end up talking about it again later. Please feel free to mention it to me. I dropped the thing I was playing with. Hey, I'm back. Um, and yeah, that's where I stand on that. It's 11:30. I'm late. I have to take another commercial break. So please sit still for commercial break. I'll see you in a few minutes. And we have got to get moving with this anime thing. Tick, tick, tick. Move, move, move. All right. Well, that's easy. Not watching Rise of the Shield Hero Season 2. Tomodachi Game. No, not watching this either. You have to not doubt your friends, and with the looks on everyone's faces, everyone's going to get real doubty of each other. Not interested in psychological game. Moving on. Yusha Yamemasu. After saving humanity from the despicable Demon King, Leo Demonheart does not earn a hero standing. He is regarded with suspicion and hostility by those he fought to protect. I mean, if you're that strong to fight the Demon King, people be like, oh, Jesus, he's a pariah, nowhere to turn, he's exiled. He seeks position in the army of his former nemesis, but it's not what it was, so he has to now whip the forces back into fighting shape. Sounds like fun. I don't think I'm going to watch it, though. Maybe I'm feeling inundated with like watching so many like sword and sorceries and isekais and all that other kind of stuff. Maybe I'm like I'm being a little even more selective than I would normally be, but I'm just gonna, moving on. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. No, Verbo, whatever. Cap Kakume Bottleman DX. Sure, didn't watch that. Insect Land, I won't. Mahjong Soul, Jong Tamapong. Live stream Niji Sanji Mahjong Cup tournament announced on Sunday that a comical television anime adaptation of Cat Food Studio and Yostar's free-to-play Mahjong game Mahjong Soul, Jongtama or Jantama, Maj Soul, has been greenlit for April. Kenshiro Mori is directing the Jongtama Pong anime at Scooter Films. I'm not gonna... That Kaginado season 2, I don't even know what this... Wow, why do people look so familiar? Why does this look so familiar? Still not watching it, I believe, but moving on. Onipan. I watched the trailer for this. Over the centuries, Oni, demons of Japanese folklore, got a pretty bad reputation. Now it's up to 3 plucky Oni kids, Sunny Tsusuji, Cool Tsuyukusa, and Boisterous Himawari, to improve human Oni relations through love, friendship, and superpowered underpants. It's by Wit Studio, so it's clearly have to watch it. I don't. Sure, great. I mean, watch the trailer because it makes less sense. I expected there to be way more going on than there was, but I was like, oh, and there's Oni pants, these things here, right? I'm just like, whatever. No, I'm not gonna watch it. Yatogami-chan, Kansatsuniki, Yonsatsume. They're getting the 4th season of Yatogami-chan. But I stopped watching after a while because I just really wasn't really into it. This was a leftover I wasn't watching. Bakugan's leftover. That's a leftover. That's a leftover. So I wasn't watching any of those. Gotobu no Hanayome movie. I wasn't aware of the double integral one to begin with. Crayon Shinchan's getting a ninja movie. Nope. Doraemon's getting a little Star Wars movie. No. Let's see. Free is getting the final stroke. So KyoAni's still working. That's good. I'm glad to see that. Isekai Quartet's getting a movie. Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san's getting a movie. I hope it's not a crushed work. I hope it's an original work. God, it's just so pretty. I want them to do if they're doing a movie. That's Shine, so it's not who I thought it was. If they're doing a movie, then it makes me feel like that will probably be the end of what we'll see of Takagi-san. But if they do a movie, depending on how they do it, maybe the tail end of it will actually be the time skip to show us, more of what they're like in the future. But it would be like the last 60 seconds or so, probably. But anyway, I'm going to watch that if I can. Kido Senshi Gundam, Kukuru's Doan no Shima. So retelling of the 15th episode of Gundam. Just want to be clear. This whole movie is a retelling of the 15th episode of the Gundam TV anime. I don't know what happened, but great. Go nuts. Meitante Konen, so there's a Halloween movie. Halloween no Hanayome. Hanayome, by the way, bride. That's what that's supposed to mean, but Shibuya Halloween at the building, certain wedding ceremonies taking place. Miwako Sato's in a wedding dress, intruder bursts in. Somebody's injured. The serial bombing criminal came and really killed somebody, and then somebody and something and whatever. What? It's that. Odd Taxi in the Woods. It's really weird, right? Because I'm like, it's a reconstruction of television anime that will also depict what happens after its finale with a new story written by. I'm like, okay. I think I will watch this. I really liked Odd Taxi. I think I can give up an evening to watch a movie. If it ends up on a service I have access to, then great. That'll make it even easier. I'm just kind of like, but yeah. To see a little bit more after the finale is kind of interesting, but I'm also interested in like, how would you change this? This was very much like if you liked Durarara or Bakano because you liked how interconnected a lot of things became. Odd Taxi is very much that kind of feel of a lot of people are interconnected, but the fact that it's a reconstruction of the TV anime, that's interesting too, because it's probably just going to take its focus and just try to be like, let's just focus on, only a few characters and have the rest be really like side characters rather than explain it out more. But we'll see. Oshiri Tante, so Butt Detective, is getting a movie. Shiriati, so the villain who seeks to steal a mysterious treasure known as the O parts. Can someone remind me what O part stands for again? Because that's actually O part is actually an acronym. And we'll get to what it is. Hey, did you like Penguin Drum? That's it. O parts, out of place artifact. OOP art. O parts. Anyway, do you like Penguin Drum? Great. Movie of Penguin Drum, new elements. Remember that thing I said about Odd Taxi? That's like, that'll be fun. Maybe this will be fun. I won't know because I watched Penguin Drum. I watched the whole thing. I can put a little star on my who's the goddamn director again? Utena. Come on, Beej. You know this. Yuri Kuma Arashi. Utena. Oh. Sailor Moon S. You've seen his name. Somebody help me in chat because I can't. You backseat me on this one. I'll allow you to do that. But whatever. I have that little star in my list that I watched this. I'm gonna say Kurosawa, but Ikuhara. Thank Jesus. The moment I see it, I'm like, you're an idiot. Why didn't I get that, Beej? God, thank you, Wicker. Yeah, but I don't care if there's more. Maybe you will. Great. Tongari Atama no Gonta, Futatsu no Namae o Ikita Fukushima Hisai Inu no Monogatari. So something about maybe this is taking place in Fukushima? I'm not sure. Don't know what it's about. Looks very like, WoW World, but looks very like old school, movie anime, definitely. So there's that. Bubble. Fun premise, right? This will be on Netflix. Very probably easy to find at that point. In a Tokyo where gravity is broken, this is an OVA ONA special out of 1 of 1. So we'll get that in like a month. A boy and a girl are drawn to each other. The story is set as Tokyo after bubbles that broke the law of gravity rained down upon the world. Cut off from the outside world, Tokyo's become a playground for a group of young people who have lost their families, acting as a battlefield for parkour team battles. What? Parkour team battles as they leap from building to building. It doesn't matter what any of this has to do. She has a mysterious power. Great. She's a reverse Laputa thing. She'll float off in the air. Who knows? But the parkour team battle thing is probably where this is going to really lean into, I'm sure. Revelation that changes the world, because that's how these things work. If this is a 45-minute-er, that's a lot to cram in. If this is like actually a movie, but they're just calling it OVA, that's interesting too. I might watch it. Legend of Galactic Heroes is getting a sequel. I don't know if I'll watch this reboot or not. I feel like I should try to watch the reboot. If there's enough of it that's coming out, then it's like, it's funny, right? It's like, if there's enough of the reboot that's coming out, then I'll watch it. But by the time enough of the reboot comes out for me to watch it, that'll mean that there'll be so goddamn much of it, I won't feel like actually watching it. So, all right, moving on. Idleland Prepara, not a Prepara person, so don't know anything about that. Looks neat though. Jewel Pet Attack Travai. I thought I was going to say Travai, so that's why I said that weird, but travel. Nope, don't know anything about that. Don't know anything about Jewel Pet really. Josekose to Maho no Note, so school, girl, and the magical note. The story follows, this is a great image, by the way. Story follows Yuzuki Shido, a second-year high school student who can't find what she wants to do. One day, a fairy named Buruburu suddenly appears before her and teaches her how to find and fulfill her dreams. Okay, how many of these? It airs in 2022, so hold tight. Aha, was looking forward to this. 12 episodes, calling it an OVA because I think it's because it's going straight to Netflix as a thing. I wanted to watch season 2 of SAC 2045, not strictly standalone complex in this case, right? But yeah, as Richard says, finally, I'm like, yes, this has been out for a little while on Netflix. Is it any good? I don't know. I liked the original standalone complex much more. And all that went on there. There's a lot more animation. There's a way more action. I don't know if I like I had to watch several episodes of this season 1 to feel like I was into it. Watch the 12th episode, which is, focuses on, I'm going to say Toga. I forget his name. That was interesting too. I am interested to see where this goes. Is the CG any good? The Meerkat asks. No. Like it's not Pixar. It's barely DreamWorks. Like it's a TV show and they had to make some nods here and there. It is what it is, and don't get upset. Watch the trailer. Togusa, thank you. So close. Reboot. I mean, yeah, it's if Reboot was made today, it'd probably look like this. Is actually maybe the way to think about that. The first reboot. There was a reboot, wasn't there? Whatever. Meitante Conan. Hey, another is an anime adaptation of a spin-off manga. Zero No Tea Time. I don't know what that has to do with anything. I'm probably not going to watch it. Pari Pikome. Fate and Reincarnation deliver brilliant military strategist Kong Ming from warring ancient China to Japan's modern party hotspot in Shibuya City, Tokyo. Okay, so he's living his, a different world. He meets an amateur musician. They have a friendship. I don't know. It's PA works. I guess this is about, instead of being about girls having jobs, it's about Chinese military strategists having jobs in Japan in the modern era. Maybe that'll be funny. Comedy, drama, music, slice of life. I don't know. It's episode 2 of 12, so it's already started. I don't know how you can say this isn't TV, but I guess if it's not being shown on TV, if it's being shown on a service, yeah, it's on High Dive and Bilibili, so maybe it's not on TV. So maybe I'll watch. We'll see. Princess Principal, gave up on that a while ago, so not watching that. Strike the Blood, never watched that. It's the 5th season. Wow, so we're seeing lots of seasons show up in this part now. Thermae Ramai Novai. I liked the original Thermae Ramai. I liked that one, all about bads. Janky as shit animation, which is so charming. I watched the first episode of this. It is very different. I'm going to watch all of it because why not? It is not Berserk 3D animated bad. Let's just start there. But it is a little lighter animated. Then you'll notice that there's not animation happening, but you won't notice it when it matters. Like if people are like, when there's people walking around, you will be like, oh, look, they used that model already. And that guy definitely has a walk cycle. You'll know who I'm talking about when you see the dude with a mustache. But everybody else, it's like, it feels anime-ish. It feels like we spent some time on this. We couldn't spend all the time that we could possibly spend on it, but meh. So, Still though, I like it. I'll watch all of it. I'll see what the overlap is with the rest of it. And plus there's bits at the end where the original author of Thermae Romae, because they're making this Netflix series, they had some money put up and they got to go around to different places in Japan and see how bathing works at different onsen hot springs and all that kind of stuff. Very interesting, because it's not just here's a famous hot spring and isn't it nice? It's very nice. It's like, here's a famous hot spring. The water comes out of the ground at like 50 to 60 degrees Celsius. Holy crap. Yeah. So we had to do this to cool it down properly. And so this has been running here since this era, and then this and this and this. She's like, cool. And then she sits down. She's like, I make a drawing of what Lucius would have gone through when he saw this. And here's a cool drawing I made. And like, great. And it's like a 3-minute bit. It's like, it's fun. So, yeah. Kind of like, where's Tiger and Bunny 2? Here it is. Here it is. We knew this was coming for years, and here it is. And it's going to be on Netflix, and maybe it'll be on Netflix, like on English-speaking Netflix as well. But here it is. So I hope it's good. I can't wait to find out if it's worth it. So yeah, Bandai Namco Pictures. We'll see what happens. Sequel to Tiger and Bunny, The Rising. Okay, cool. I don't think I watched The Rising. Ultraman's getting a second season. I know that means that Ian's going to be just super pleased with himself. I'm not watching that though. Unmei no Makimoto Shi. So the Shi would mean 4, but maybe that's not what they mean here. Could be death. Could be anything. The story centers on Chrono, a boy whose right eye is imbued with a rewinder. A power to rewind time. He belongs to a special time police unit that thwarts dark destinies by going back in time and changing history. The story puts Chrono on the various types of missions, including romance, sports, and defeating terrorist attacks. So this is a manga thing. This aired on a certain date. I have no idea what services it has appeared on, but it sounds like multiple things. So this might not just be a one-off. This might be like a few OVAs or something like that. Web specials maybe. Vampire in the Garden. I think I heard about this. Vampire anime. The very normal hashtag. One cold winter, humanity lost its battle with the vampires, and with it, most of where they called home. A small population of survivors created a wall of light in a small town to protect them and give them a place to live in peace. Our protagonist, Momo, lives a repressed life, but still wishes to coexist with the enemies, the vampire. Fine, going to say Fine here, the vampire queen, once loved humans and disappeared from the battlefield. As war rages through the human town, the two have a fateful encounter. Once upon a time, humans and vampires lived in harmony in a place called Paradise. This is the story of a young girl and vampire in a dream to find paradise. Not a vampire guy generally, so I'm probably not gonna watch this. Vampire in the Garden, Wit Studio. Yuko no Moriarty, didn't watch that, not interested in the OVA, and that will bring us to 11:57. Holy shit, you guys, we did it in under 3 hours. We did the whole thing. Let's roll back to see here. There's lots of stuff obviously going on that we're all really excited about. Stuff that I can mark that I'm watching, and stuff that I'll completely forget to watch, because like things on Netflix I'll just completely miss that it's happening, probably. But that stuff happens. So many sequels to stuff and movies that are coming in that I'm interested. Like some movies I'm interested in. Stuff that I didn't think I was going to watch when I went through this the first time. That talking to you and saying it out loud and that kind of stuff. Kind of got me. Like maybe Summertime Render might be interesting to watch a couple. I don't want to have like the Hidden Village happen where I'm like, I'll watch an episode and we'll see what happens. And Heather and I watched the first episode, like, what is happening? Well, now we got to watch the next episode. And then, what is happening? We got to watch the next episode. And the next thing you know, you get through 13 episodes and you're like, what just happened? And I don't remember anything about that show other than the bus. I'm like, cool. It kind of wasn't worth it for me to watch it, I think. Erased, on the other hand, oh God. That show will never leave my mind, I'm sure. That was a good show. That was worth it. And I even told my friends, I'm like, hey, how do you feel about children getting abducted? You don't like it? You might not want to watch this show. It's so good. It's so good. You don't like that idea? Don't watch the show. It's so good. So anyway. Spy Family, yeah. Maybe I'll watch an Executioner episode. Who knows? What were the things that... All right, RPG Fudo-san. Let's not sleep on this, right? Real estate, slice of life. Might be fun and, could be interesting somehow. Wasn't interested in the Otome game thing. Yeah, obviously got our new Machikado Masaku. the Kunichi Tsubaki. Remember, I would say watch it. I'll watch it, and if it turns out at the end of the season, like if I'll come back in here and be like, I was so wrong about this. I thought it was going to be something else, and I'm so sorry. But the manga doesn't feel like this. But yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna watch it. And I'm really looking forward to it. May end up watching a couple episodes of Konohiro Mendokusai. We'll see. Yes. More of our beautiful freaked out owl cat. Probably watch a few episodes of this because maybe it'll be cute. Koi wa Sekai Seifuku no Ato, the Gelato 5, as it were. I will watch the Heartthrob Girlfriend thing, I think, at this point too, because I'm kind of if that's what is meant to go on here, I'm like, okay, actually I think that'll be really fun. And of course, more Kaguya-sama, which is really exciting. More A Sense of a Bookworm. Holy shit, I'm going to be watching so much stuff this season. I just realized. Stab Life. That was the other one where people were like, Beej, maybe you should watch an episode of this. I'm like, okay, I'll watch an episode of this. It sounds like so. Okay, I'll give that a shot too. I'm going to go into the other room and get on my other computer and actually click the things that we're all done doing. But yeah, this has been about 3 hours. And Aharen-san, excited about that too. I will take questions if anybody has any questions. We're not going to do a lot of them. There probably won't be a lot of them, but that's fine. And while I'm waiting for questions to come, I'm going to thank everybody here for joining me tonight on Twitch. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm glad that you went and watched this on YouTube as well. That was what I did. That is how I spent my time during the pandemic. No, this has been Beej's Anime Roundup. And if you want to support the show, obviously those of you on YouTube can become YouTube members on the main channel, Loading Ready Run. And then you can also go to twitch.tv/Loading Ready Run to watch all the great stuff that we make, which is a lot of it. And we'll always have more stuff for you, and I'll thank the people who did subs and bits and whatnot here in a minute. I also want to point out the patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, a great way to also help put some money in the pockets of the many people who work at Loading Ready Run, because there are a lot of us, and it always seems like there's more. And the store.loadingreadyrun.com, a great place to hit up if you are interested in our merchandise, and we have all sorts of great merchandise, and we do have plans to make more merchandise. Don't worry about that. We cannot ship to the UK and EU just yet. I hope to have a solution sooner than later. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, probably next couple months, I should be able to get somewhere with this. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. And other ways to do things, I don't know. Let's do the questions. Izendai asks, did you check out Fabi Niku? I don't think I did. I would need to know the entire title to know for sure if that was a thing I checked out or not. Maybe I did not. Laundrade Hull. Laundradle. Oh, I like that. Laundradle. That's good. Only seen clips of Takagi-san. What's it like? Beej's point of view of Fable. It is about a young girl, middle school age. A young girl decides to tease a young boy that she likes. They have kind of little contests, very like schoolyard kind of contests. Like, let's see who can stay on the bike the longest without having it fall over, but not pedaling, those kind of contests, right? The little like folk game things that you play. She constantly teases him by beating him at these little things, and then also pointing out that whenever she's clearly plotting something or planning something, a way to like get one over on her, that she always knows when that's happening. And so she always kind of pokes fun at him because of that. He finds it frustrating. But also she really likes him, and that's their interaction. That's kind of the life they create with each other. And it's just very slice of life. And the anime is great because they also lean into stuff that her friends do. There's little moments of her friends her friends actually have their own manga, also done by the same mangaka. So you can read that if you want to as well. And some of those little moments show up in the Takagi-san series as well. I really like it. I think it's super cute and it's worth watching. And let's see. Total Fantasy Knockout. Life with an Ordinary Guy Who Reincarnated a Total Fantasy Knockout. No, I don't think I watched that, so I have no opinion on it. What were my thoughts on My Dress Up Darling? I love it. Macrosian tie. It's really Macrosian tie. You'll have to go find the part of the episode where I talk about how much I liked it, but be like, rest assured, I really liked it. I still like it. I actually hope they make more of it. And that's it. Thank you for asking the things. Have a good night, everybody. It's a pleasure having you here. As always, I'm happy that you're being kind to each other. We have probably one of the best. I'm now hanging out in several Discords and seeing what life is like in Twitter and seeing what life is like in other places as well. I'm always very gladdened by the fact that so many of you get along with each other so well and that you're creating such a wonderful community. And man, oh man, I know that we say it a lot and maybe we don't even say it enough, but you have helped create something special, and our mods have helped create something special. And I was thinking about the other day while walking home from work that I was just kind of like, God damn, if it wasn't for the fact that our mods and our fans haven't tried to create such a wonderful place for people to park themselves, I think it would be that much harder for us to have the jobs that we have. So I acknowledge the fact that you do so much by either modding for us or even just participating with the stuff that we do and telling your friends about it and getting them involved. And I know I can't read, every person's name in chat to say all the people who did stuff, but who always do the things. But here's the names of the people who did some things tonight. I want to thank, it's going to be tough because holy crap. It's hard to read because I make the typeface so small. Lyra Noir, subscribed for 34 months. Thank you. War God Mogus for 40 months. Thank you. Ash Burnham for 79 months with that Twitch heart. Thank you. T Cup Cryptids for 63 months. Victor Von Amaranth for 46 months. I watched My Dress Up Darling because of Beej's speech on it. I really liked it. Very cute. I'm glad. And I'm glad it turned out to be cute because it could have gone maybe a different direction, but I'm glad it turned out to be cute. The Avle Frem for 66 months. Thank you so much. Electra 310 for 17 months. 17 is your favorite number. Awesome. It's prime numbers are fun to have as favorites. Rubik Darkwill for 56 months. Time for me to go back to the VOD and hear this later because you came in 35 minutes ago. Episvant, subscribed for 47 months. Alchemist Merlin for 84 months. That's and then Demon Fire with 500 bits. There's no user named Anime for me to give a sub, so here's 500 bits to say Anime. Thank you, Demon Fire, and thank you again, of course, everybody else for showing up tonight. Hey, I'm just curious before everyone takes off, how many people are actually in chat right now? 172 people still hanging out, so it might have been about 200 here all night. That's really cool. All I want to do is keep talking all night, and I probably should not. I have other things I have to do tomorrow. So everybody please have, I'm looking at the camera this time and talk to you directly. Everyone please have a good night. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay inside if you can, wear a mask, get those vaccines. They're all part of trying to help you. And help the people who need help when they need help. It's always nice to be a helper. Have a good night.